to an age when thought is free, from the age of Big Brother, from the age of the thought police, from a dead man. Greetings.
One. So yeah, Ibiza was fantastic, bro. But I just want to say this in conclusion or summation. Charlotte DeWitt, overrated. 100% in my opinion.
DeWitt.
Dude, Charlotte DeWitt, we were at this, I remember I told you we're at Universe, UNVRS, which is a great club, or not even club, it's a venue, right? I mean, it's like they've got this, it's a venue, bro. Like there's pockets and corners as you're wandering about, like secret bunker rooms where you just have someone like playing a set and it's like amazing. Anyway, I don't want to go too deeply into the universe, but it's got a lot. Like it's more than just a club, okay? That's all I can tell you. And the visuals are amazing behind the stage, the light shows, everything that's going on, it's fantastic. And when you listen to a play, the first few minutes of each song, if I can even call it that, is interesting. But then it just turns into like literally 10 minutes of and it's not like the bass is doing something. You know what I mean? Like, you know when the DJ plays with the bass, when it'll be like it's not that. It's literally just and you get so bored. And as I like looked around me, all I saw was like people like shifting side to side. Like no one's dancing because you can't dance to that music. It's just bro. And
to cut in quickly.
Yeah.
It's because it's for the drugs.
No,
that's what
but
it's supposed to be for, that where you
Mikey, you and I have been to, and I'll give you I'll give you a contrast to what I know what you're trying to say, but trust me, it's not like that at all. It's boring. Like no one is dancing because you can't dance to it, because it's just bass, and the bass is like penetrating through your chest, and it's like excessive, and it's people go there, I feel, just for the light show and to be able to say, I've seen Charlotte DeWitt because she's the hot new thing. But compare that, for example, to we were there another night at Universe, the last night, and I think it was John Summers was playing, and oh my goodness, he also used bass. He also had amazing visuals. But when you looked around, everyone is dancing, people are vibing because you can dance to the music. There's a play with the rhythm, with the bass, like and all that, it's, you're playing with it. Like that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to, and still everyone is, you see jaws grinding and like people are like floating away kind of thing. But like, it's beautiful, right? And I'm not the only one who said that. Like loads of people that you meet, like how it is. You're like meeting people at the hotel or on the streets, and you're like, oh, where were you? What have you done? And then people are like, oh, you were also at Universe? Oh yeah, I found that kind of boring. People are exchanging stories. It's not like it's just my experience. And then compare that to example for like Mel C. Remember Mel C from the Spice Girls?
Spice Girls.
Dude, that was the most amazing surprise. So Dean was like, yeah, man, we're going to go to Pasha. Pasha's another club. And we're going to, like, Mel C is going to open up, and then we're going to see Robin Schulz. He's the headliner for that event. And we get to Pasha. And I was like, yeah, Mel C from the Spice Girls, but somehow it didn't click. So we get to Pasha. I see this small woman like who's DJing with blonde hair, and the music was nice, but the dance floor was still open. Like we were early, even though it's like 11, 12 o'clock. It's early, and like me and my true style, in our style, I immediately went to the very front because there's almost no one on the dance floor, and I just started vibing. And she was smiling at me and Dean like, away, these guys are like opening. Basically, they're like giving people the courage to come and dance. And in fact, like after a few minutes of us just like jamming, I just noticed like, oh, okay, the people are like kind of coming to the dance floor, and it never clicked like, oh, this is Mel C from the Spice Girls, even though like I knew the name, and I didn't click like this woman right here, this DJ playing is Mel C, because her set was off the hook. It was off the hook. It was so off the hook. And I'm just so impressed because I feel like that's amazing. She's not just, I just applaud that she's not just a girl band pop artist, like one of the greatest pop groups that's ever been, right? We know this. I don't know if people today realize that, but she Spice Girls was huge. But she as a DJ as well, top class. And I would go and watch her perform 9 times out of 10 instead of Charlotte DeVette. 9 times out of 10, easily. She was fantastic. And then Robin Schulz was like the cherry on top. He just took it to, really good. Anyway, I know I'm going on, but
yeah, I was just waiting for you to lose steam. No, but like, isn't it always like that though? When we would go to the trance parties, there would be some random person where at some awkward time, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is insane, and everybody's like kind of like, yo, the dance floor right now, and everybody rushes there. But then when the headliner comes, you're like, oh man, can't that guy play again? And it could even be, I wouldn't say his debut playing, but maybe at like the big event. He's making his himself known, and so yeah, I feel like that it tends to happen. Obviously, most of the time it doesn't when you actually know like the headliner, and you just know there's something different in the air when he starts playing. And I'm specifically talking about like psytrance now. You can just hear like the quality inside of the beats and just how everybody is moving to it, and you go, whoa, this is
tell us
now
a story. That's the way Dean put it nicely when he was like, when we were at Charlotte DeVette, he was like telling me like, dude, why isn't she telling us a story? I think he put it like that, which is true. You want the music tells
it's like
you a story.
the introduction, the build up, the climax,
and like you're saying, the little details in the bass and in the background that you hear, and it's like, oh my goodness, this person is like reaching deep into our souls, and it's like this. Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings right now.
But also you have to realize like, how did they get her as the headline? Like it wasn't they couldn't get someone they wanted. She was the only one who was available, who
I think
has
it's hype,
potential.
my guy. I think it's hype. Look, I don't want to judge. But
and obviously there could be people who like that kind of bassy stuff, even though they might say, even though while it's happening, they don't know what to think, but then afterwards they go on social media and they're like, oh my goodness, I was a part of Charlotte DeVette, this is amazing. But really they didn't actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I think
as much as they thought they did.
I think it's hype because a lot what was happening, but this may be happening a lot anyways, people were putting up their phones and recording And I was
That's when you know
I
they're
was like,
bored.
dude, exactly. I was one of the only people who's like, we were talking like, this obviously some random dude that I met at the dance floor, um and he was like, I was like, dude, why has everyone got their phones up? And he was also a young dude, easily 10 years younger than us. And he was like,
easily 10 years old.
no. Well, we're yeah. Anyway, he could easily
Why would
be
you
like,
go to that island?
that's Epstein's theme song, or Bill Gates's, or Elon Musk's. Who knows?
Like that's the that's like your not your ringtone, like your message tone.
Yeah. Oh shit! I'm waiting for Family Guy or for like some adult.
They would never do it. They won't touch it at all. But just to like, here's a question I do have about that, about the clubbing thing. I don't really wanna.
Yeah. Go to what?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, to me, it's kind of all the same, right? Except just, different venues. Obviously, the main attraction is like an island in a different country. That's obviously the biggest attraction. But then, like, so the question is, if you had to look at one of your best nights at like a Stones for example, I should say,
Which is a bar.
which is a
Of the
bar that
dance
has
floor.
a small dance floor, and a lot of the same things are kind of happening, but it's not like a club like that. Is there any real difference?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't want to undersell it. No.
Okay, but yeah.
Okay, I get
No,
what you're
another thing I
saying.
want to ask is, like, I want to compare it to more things. So,
Yeah.
for instance, like, did you ever go?
I went to Dockside.
What club? No. What club? Because, man, I'm trying to think now.
You're
Do
basically
you
asking.
remember something called Madison Avenue?
Where was that?
So it was where Fez used to be. Do you remember Fez?
Yeah, I remember Fez. Look, man.
Okay, so now the name has changed many times. That's why I'm
Mikey,
saying.
let me tell you. I know what you're trying to ask me. How much of it is just the fact that you're on an island, not tropical, but you're in a hot, beautiful place. Weather is great, right? People are from all over the world, and you're in this amazing venue, and it's the hype. And what I'm trying to tell you is, no, that's not it. There's actually amazing music, and of course, it's also the fact that let me tell you honestly, there's a lot of people you can tell who are just there for I was in Ibiza, I saw this name artist. There's people like that, you can see it. But then you also meet a lot of people who love the music, who are in the right vibe. It's basically, I would say, like, and you've seen this also in those trance parties. Like, you'll go to Bear Trap, which is a smaller trance party, and it'll be 10 out of 10. And then you go to another trance party, which is
Like
five
Resident.
times bigger, right? 5 times more budget, 5 times more stuff, and it's like a 8 out of 10. So what I'm saying is that the people, the club, the place, it actually is a 10 out of 10 experience. It's just that I felt that Charlotte Devet, she wasn't supposed to be there. Like, it's like a blemish in my experience, because I was tired. I was standing there thinking about, oh, my legs are tired. I actually want to go home now, right?
But
And
here's a question.
that's wrong. You should
In
never
that
be
moment. Can't you just go to another place as if you were in just at a place you didn't like, and then say, let's get out of here, let's go check out some other place? Like, how far off are the places to each other?
Oh,
Or is it because, oh, we paid for this, so we have to kind of stay for this.
Look, this is what you could do, and that's the nice thing. You could just leave, not leave Universe, and go to, there's like 2 or 3 other places where they're playing music, like smaller rooms, right? Like there's a bunker. There's another DJ playing there. You could go there, right? But yeah, you do actually pay a lot for the tickets, right? Especially if you were to convert it to rands. It's a lot of money. So that's the annoying part. Like, you know, if you're paying, I can't even remember how much. If you're paying 150 for 3 people to go to a party, I think we paid even more for hers. Then you are kind of expecting a really great DJ on the main stage, but
and when does she start playing as opposed to when
like
there's other DJs before her?
Like 2 a.m. It's the same with Robin Schulz. Like Ibiza, the clubs on Ibiza, they're late night parties. You have some clubs that are only from 2 p.m. to like 9 p.m. They're not open at night. Remember, like 9 p.m. the sun is still up. 10 p.m. is when the sun like goes down in summer. So really the main act will come out at like 2 a.m. 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. That's when the main headliner is actually going on, starting their set.
So how was the people before? The lineup before her? Like, was it like, is that the reason? Because you were like, oh, we're having such a good time, and then she comes on and now it goes flat? Or was it flat the whole time and then she comes on and now you're like, okay, this is what we came here for, and then, oh, this is also flat. So this whole night is kind of like bad.
The main the performance before her was good, but yeah, it wasn't also that amazing. You know who was amazing? Apparently it's her husband. I can check. The guy, I don't know, but there was some person who came on before her, and he was very good. Yes, exactly. Enrico Sanguiolano. He was very good. And I was like, why couldn't we get more of this guy? Like, I don't know who this dude is. And then Dean told me like, oh, that's her husband. And so her husband was also coming on before or after her or something like that. But he was good. He was good. I was like, yeah, this is what we needed more of.
But I also feel like when it comes to these things, it's not just one aspect. It can be one aspect, but it's the whole thing, the whole package of the people you meet, to even like the level of messed up you get, to the music, to certain activities that happen. So out of 10, what would you rate that experience? Not just like, oh, we're dancing and the music is flat.
Oh, the people were actually very nice, man. People are very nice. They're very open. You know, the thing is, obviously, like, you'll have like, it gets crowded. What was annoying is that, like, at some point everyone is just like pushing to the front, and it doesn't make sense. Like, I know you are only pushing to the front because you're trying to say, or you're trying to get your video recording up close, but the music isn't good, right? Because when the music was pumping in that other time, people wanted a bit of space to dance. You get it? Like, you saw people wanted to like move, so they're like, I'll come back a bit as long as I can jam. And people are jamming all around, and they're like, and yeah, there were still people crowded in front, but it was just like this stream where it got a little bit annoying. Like, you can't move, you want to go take a piss, you come back, it's crowded. I think I think
Even when you're at the toilets, you're waiting in a long line
yeah,
for
like
some
I think
porta potty to open.
exactly. I think in summary, because I don't want us to talk the whole time about this, but I'll say that it was a hyped up artist, and the hyped up artist attracted hype people. You know what I mean? It attracted phony music lovers. The people who they're fake. They're not really there because they want to listen to good music. They're not there because they want to have a great experience. Because before her and after her, it was fantastic. You know, the people were nice. Everyone was nice. People were actually dancing. They weren't obsessed with their phones coming out the whole time. Um, you know, people were just like patting me on the shoulder and like giving me a thumbs up just because they saw that I was enjoying myself. You know, that kind of feel, like that kind of vibe. Like people are like that. People are just like smiling. You know, if you step on someone's shoe, they just smile at you. No one's trying to like start anything. Like 100% good vibes. Good vibes.
That's why, yeah, that's why, like, when it came to the psytrance parties and things where you put your phone in the car and you're not going to see it in 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, unless you like really have to.
You forget you have a phone.
And you forget the time.
Yes.
And that's what was so awesome about those events was you wake up in the morning, you know, you eat your food, you go buy from whatever stall there, you sit down with your friends, you laugh, oh, this was crazy last night. Then a DJ comes on and you jam. And then the sun is out and you're like, wow, it's been such a great day so far. And then you say, hey, does anybody actually have the time? And they say, oh, it's 9:45 in the morning.
And
you're like, that's impossible.
There's been so
You know,
much
like
has
I've
happened
had
already.
the whole, like, it feels like it's been hours upon hours upon hours. And it actually reminds me of something that I was thinking about where, like, if you don't have, I was thinking about something really trippy, dude. But I'll just get into it since it came to me now. Like, we have our five, and this is really segueing, but it's interesting to get your opinion on it. We have our five senses, right?
Yeah.
Sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. That kind of like puts us in this world. But now I was thinking, what if someone doesn't have any of those? Like, what would the experience actually be?
Is that a question you're asking me?
Yeah, just like really think about it. What would your experience be if you didn't have your five senses?
Well, I mean, that's
like how would you know when you were in one room to another room? How would you know if people were even engaging with you? What would you be? Would you
You'd be in a
would you just be
coma.
like this? No, would you just be this thing that's like floating in space? I guess the
I know what
coma
you're
is
trying to.
actually a good way of putting it because, but not really, because just because you don't have your senses, that doesn't necessarily mean that you wouldn't like throw your arm, even though you don't feel it, right?
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Like there would still be some type of animation, even though you would be unaware of it, unless because you can't feel it, you aren't trying to move your arm.
If you have no senses, if you have none of the five senses, you would be completely disengaged from this world. I mean, think about it. You would have no taste to be like, this is amazing. Whether it's the taste of lips or the taste of watermelon, you would have no, you'd
Okay,
have.
trust you to talk about watermelon.
Oh, because I'm a Negro. Yeah, I know. I think he's a Negro. Russell Peters, he.
Um, yeah, but go on. You were saying something
Yeah, I
interesting.
think you you'd be divorced. I mean, you're talking about even hearing. You're talking about
Hearing, seeing.
seeing, right? So
Even the biggest one is touch, right?
touch is a very
Because
important one.
like that's the nerve endings. That's like the feeling. So you wouldn't even know if your jaw was moving up and down to eat.
Oh, yeah, you're completely disengaged from the world, bro. There's no you are you're here but you're not here. Like you're in another world, basically. You're in another world.
And then, but so the question then becomes, oh no, but say if it happened like rapidly to someone at like an older age, they would still have their thoughts.
Mm.
They would be able to
Their
think
memories,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, so things, they would just be playing things out. So then I even went a step deeper than that, where I was like, what if you don't have thoughts?
Why are you thinking this?
No, but you know why I was thinking it? Because I was like thinking about meditation, right?
Mm.
And I was thinking about what people are trying to achieve when they're meditating. And then I realized, oh, that is what they're trying to touch, even if it's for a split second. They're trying to touch that infinite nothingness. This is why they relax the body. This is why they sit still. This is why they switch off the thoughts. They close the eyes. They go into a quiet place. They're not eating anything,
I feel
obviously.
like it's different though. I think that when you're meditating successfully, you are actually touching, feeling and seeing everything. Like you
So there
are
is that. There is those two thoughts, right?
those two
The one
polar,
is,
yeah.
yeah, the one type of meditation is, it's, they call it basically the direct path, and then you get the indirect path. So you are referring to the direct path, where you don't stop anything. You sit down, obviously, you close your eyes, but like you let the thoughts go, and you just, everything happens at such a level that it kind of just brims down to this point of like nothingness, because everything that you're experiencing now becomes one. Whereas the indirect part is the one I was saying, where you try go um indirectly to that place of, I guess, oneness, right? But that's what that's what got me to thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, you see,
And then what,
yeah,
yeah. No,
even
no.
when,
So yeah,
yeah, even when I,
like you like, yeah, and then just like,
even when
okay, go for
even when I
it.
quiet my thoughts, right, and everything falls away, and I am in the nothingness, I then realize that in that nothingness, I am connected to everything. It's because the nothingness, the void is not empty. That's what you realize when you're in the void. You understand? So that's how I feel. Like I feel like it's like you go into a dark room and you go, "Wow, I see nothing," and then suddenly you realize, "Wait a minute! In this darkness is not empty. There's like everything is in it. Like not just my thoughts aren't there, but like suddenly like I feel the air. You know what I mean? I feel it in my skin. I feel it in my flesh. I like feel almost like I'm on this
Well,
earth. Like you get
it's
it. That's
being, right?
yeah. It's that
Like you start feeling what being is,
yeah
and then you realize that there's like a beingness, there's like a isness
yeah.
that is constantly running,
Mm,
regardless of if you can hear or see or taste anything. There's something that is, and then you realize that isness, like, where does it, where does my isness stop and something else's begin?
mm,
And then you realize, Oh, it's almost like a glass, like a tumbler, you know, where it's sort of like, where does the glass end and where does the tumbler begin, to get like really like esoteric about it. But essentially, you realize that, oh, everything is one being. You
Yes.
can't like compartmentalize it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why when you break those barriers, you kind of achieve it.
Mm.
And the reason I was also thinking that is because there's this one dude, Aubrey, and he does all these different types of tests of all the different types of practices and stuff, from the Sikhs, Buddhists, Zen Buddhists, Hindus, everything. And he did this one thing. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like a sensory deprivation room,
Yes.
essentially, where people go into it and it's completely black. You don't hear anything. And I
Isn't it a
think people can
chamber?
only.
It's like a chamber
No,
normally.
so the chamber is the one, but the one he went to was
The room.
something like a black room or something like that.
Okay. Continue your
And
story.
what what happens is, he said he went in there, and first of all, you don't know how long you've been in there. So for that reason, it feels like forever. It's hard to grasp onto it. It's hard to make sense of it because you don't know. And that like not knowing like really trips people out. Have I been in here for a minute? Has it been an hour? I I can't make sense of it. So that first gets people uncomfortable. And then what happens is people start hallucinating, right? Because what happens is the mind needs to project something. Um and it's kind of key to, like, if you have to think of consciousness essentially, but your mind has to put something out there. So people start tripping out and they start seeing things like appear out of the darkness. And he said he was like, what felt like he went onto his knees, and he said he was just like screaming, "Ah, ah, ah, ah," and like just wailing and just crying and just crying. And then he said like Buddha appeared to him, Gautama, and was like, why are you sad? Um, something linking to, don't you see how happy I am, or something like that. And he said he was tripping out about that, and then he started screaming like, I can't take it, I can't take it. And then he said like Jesus appeared to him, and he's like, but look what I went through. um you know and then he's like, that calmed him down, because he was like, oh, like, I don't know, he was basically saying like these masters came to him and were like teaching him. um and then eventually he, like, I don't know if there's a safe word or something, but he got out of there.
Mm.
um
That's
so though those type of experiences are very interesting.
yeah. I think that I would like. First
Just
of all, I would like to. I would love to go into a sensory deprivation room. Another thing, I don't know if your blinds are open, but like sometimes the light just gets turned up on high somehow, and then you become a little bit shiny, let's say.
That's just my aura.
Okay. And so I'd love to go into sensory deprivation room, and I think the problem is that as people, and there are varying degrees to this, right? But as people, we're not used to not doing anything. So you've seen this before. People are not comfortable even sitting in silence, right? The moment, and like I said, there's varying degrees. I mean, there's some people who literally, when you're just like, just sit down there and wait, a minute in the doctor's office, they're like fidgeting, like, what do you mean? I'm just supposed to
Well,
sit
they
here?
must pull out the phone.
Yeah, they have to pull out the phone. Like you can't just sit and be with your thoughts. And then the other people who obviously, I mean, now sensory deprivation room is taking it to the next level, because it's saying, okay, now I'm not even going to give you sound or like a scaffold for your mind. Now I'm literally going to leave you just with your thoughts. And it's not easy, because then people start thinking about the time that their uncle touched them. They think about, the person that they kicked.
You're trying to bring this to your specific example.
No uncle ever touched me. But I we all have things that we've done that we're like ashamed of.
That you have regrets.
Yeah, of course. You know this. People who I kicked in the teeth that I wish I hadn't kicked in the teeth. People that but even small
it's heavy
things.
how much it weighs on you.
Because,
it does. Like, you must have really felt, I mean, you should.
Yes, because I didn't even feel any animosity towards that person. It just, I saw such a dark side in my nature and in the human nature, and I realized how a mob mentality works. Like, it was this is old. We've read lots of obscure old books, but there's this old book written in like the 1920s or like 1830s, 1880s, something like that, like very old book that I'd gotten, and the author discussed thought forms, right?
What's the book called?
Oh, I can't remember for the life of me. I'll have to check. But like, basically, a thought form is a non-entity entity, right? So let me give you an example. When people have an idea like communism, I'm just taking, not that I'm putting it in a negative or positive light. No, okay. Pick any other idea. Just pick an idea that someone has, and this idea generates aura. It generates magnetism, and then more people believe in it, right? And when this idea gains, in inverted commas, momentum, it basically is like a cloud in the ether. And this cloud, if it gets enough energy from people, it's not just a big idea in the real world, but what happens is it becomes like an
organism.
Yeah, it becomes like an organism. It's like an octopus with many different, it has like a life of its own almost, but it's not an angel or demon or anything like that, but it becomes like an organism of its own, and it can pull people into it. People who are like
a pendulum, right?
Yes, like a pendulum. Like, it can, like, if you're like teetering on the edge, it can like pull you into the idea. So what I'm trying to say is, that's how it is with a mob. You get this anger or this hatred or this excitement going, and people who are like, I don't care, suddenly they're there watching, and then the next thing they're like, burn her, she's a witch. And afterwards, when you ask them like, hey, what did you do? They're like, oh, I don't know. What happened? It's because they were like not themselves.
Everything happened so fast.
Everything happened so fast. That's a mob mentality. Like, mobs can form so quickly because ideas have power. And when the idea is galvanized or energized correctly, it can really become a powerful thing that now is even independent from the originator of the idea. And that's what we have in the world. We're in this world that is very physical for us. We have ideas that they outlive the originator of the idea. And that's why I take the idea of communism, because the idea of communism, it was obviously originated by Karl Marx. Even though he himself, I won't discuss him as a person. He as a person is absolutely, personally, in my opinion, it's the kind of person he's disgusting. Like, he never really worked in his life. He was supported financially by a best friend for decades, and yet he had all these opinions on work and capital. And I just feel like he's completely.
But isn't that like there's a couple of examples of people that we know like that, right?
Yeah, they don't work,
and
but they
this
talk
is what I
about
was kind
workers'
of trying
rights.
to tell you about Mamdani the last time, and not to get political, because I'm not political.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
get
what I
you.
was trying to tell you last time. You have this guy who's in this powerful position, but he himself has not been in the trenches at any time. So to me, that's kind of this exact same idea. But like I said, I'm not political. I don't care about any of it.
Let me just be the first to admit, you're absolutely correct. That is a weakness, in my opinion. But what I will also say is that just because you have the weakness of that, it doesn't automatically condemn you to be a terrible leader, because we have many examples of people who have been in the trenches, right? But the moment they
can't lead.
Yeah, but the moment they get the chance to lead, it's like they completely forget that, hey man, you were with us here. Like, now you're talking like it doesn't matter. Like, you've completely forgotten. Like, you were a pizza boy and now you don't care about pizza boys. You know? What's happened? So
dude, I'll give you an example of it in my own personal life, because I love talking about when I worked in construction. Dude,
yeah,
because it's just brilliant because you can kind of like feel it in someone when they haven't done that before. That type of real man's work, manual labor, right?
Yeah.
And you can always tell. Like, I'll just give a quick a bit of information on it. When I got the job, everybody in the office was like, he'll last 2 or 3 days. They literally all spoke about it. No, not that guy. He's not going to be able to handle this. Dude, I was there for 4 years. So, like, I obviously shocked everybody, because they're like, oh, okay, don't judge a book by its cover, right? Because look, I am like a creative, artsy type of dude, actor, all these types of things. But the thing about being an actor for me that was cool about doing all these different jobs was that I'm not actually, it's kind of like I'm playing a part. I'm playing the role of a general worker, of a contracts manager, of a bartender, like of a marshal at a toboggan park.
Yeah.
I'm playing the role as if I was on camera, dude. it was just because in college, my one lecturer, the best lecturer, very racist woman, but she was the best, and she would say, when you go out into this world, study every single person that you see, because you're literally learning how to be different types of people. She's like, if you're on the train, watch how a fat person sits in his chair. He doesn't sit the same as a skinny person. And so I would look for those things, dude. Yeah, knocked my face. I would look for those things, and then I would try mimic it. I'll be like, oh, so if I'm ever doing a role where I'm playing a fat person, then I would sit like that. So it's these little vital things. But basically, my point is on your point, which is that I was a general worker, and then the one job I had to actually lead the whole site. So now I had to go, and it was actually close to where you used to live. We did this parking space there, and we did two floors. So I had to be up and down, and dude, and it got changed at the last minute. So I was working with them on the job. We were laying the screed, the concrete, flattening it out and everything. And all of a sudden now I was running the site and everybody just changed. You know, if I was making the jokes with them and stuff as one of the guys, and then all of a sudden it's people go quiet when I walked in.
Mm.
And I was like, why? And
Yeah.
it's because they expect you now to be the leader. I even had one of the guy, Lulu. He was like, "Nah, man, Mike, this your site. This your site." You know, meaning like this is your site.
Yeah.
Like you're the boss here, so you must run it like the boss. Like you must tell us what to do. And these are guys I was just
Working side
joking
by side.
around with.
Yeah.
Like, let's go find a bush to sleep under, because that's what you would do in construction. A lot of, dude. Anyways, I don't want to speak too long, but have you ever seen guys in like blue overalls? It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're just like all laid out on the lawn
Yeah.
next to like a shopping center.
Yeah.
And like these guys are just like sleeping it. Like I've been one of those dude.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's that nap is
It's golden.
one of the greatest naps
Yeah.
you could, because you get to a point, and especially because it was like around COVID and stuff, so you would have a lot of masks on, right? So no one knew who I was. And that's kind of like a funny thing is like, they wouldn't expect that it's you. Obviously, how can they see that it's you? They just see, oh, you're some general worker with boots on and overalls, and they may not get too close to him. And you have this freedom, and you realize like how much masks we put on as people. But anyways,
Yeah. But I also I will tell you the same thing, you know that when I was in Botswana, I obviously, I'm also, people would maybe perhaps class me as more of an intellectual type, someone who studies and who is maybe an academic type or something like that,
which you are.
A sedentary worker. Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but I've worked.
I'm not saying you haven't done the other stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm saying you are that as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I've worked on a farm, right? Our farm, and you change because, first of all, it's about perseverance. You're up every day before the sun is up, and your work only ends when you drop off your last worker, which is when the sun is already long set, and you are covered in dirt that entire time. Every day. Christmas Day, you're busy making sure there's a delivery of the fresh veggies to the supermarket. Maybe you get it? Things like that. So, or like the day before, like Christmas, like on the 24th. And that's just how it is. And I've also worked construction. And I'd always get amazed, like, there's always a point where the Indebele guy who's got like, you can see this is a worker, and he looks at you and he's like, Mguni can work, and he's like, and I just noticed, I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Like I obviously knew what was within me the whole time, right? But like now this person who's clearly a hardened laborer looks at you and is like, this dude can work, because he literally saw me take a hoe and dig up hectares of land within, like, there was like a tractor going ahead, and the tractor wasn't smashing up the earth into small enough pieces because it was that kind of clay soil, and I was with a hoe just like digging behind it, and this dude looked at me like, this guy is a maniac. Like he literally told my mom, like, this guy, I've never seen that. Like, this guy he just was behind this and did hectares, just like smashing these pieces to smaller pieces, and in construction as well, you know.
It's obviously with their preconceived thing about you, right? He might have looked at
Yes.
you when he met you like, oh, soft hands.
Yes,
That's like
exactly.
that's the biggest insult in construction or any type of manual labor.
Yeah,
Oh, you've got soft hands. Dude, I've had chicks tell me that,
yeah,
where they're like, oh, but your hands are soft. How can you be working in that job? And it would make my skin boil, dude. My blood boil, dude. I would be like, what? What does this chick know? Like,
yeah.
I've just been out in the sun for weeks.
Mm.
But I do understand it because if you see those dudes' hands, you're like, oh, okay. Like, they're
Yeah,
like lunch boxes.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and it's just like a weird strength. There was this guy, old man, Zolil. Dude, this guy, clearly too old. And this is when I did like that workaway job that I always refer to. So you meet all these different types of characters, right? These are guys that, they live in the location. So they probably have a hockey, which is like a shack. It's a very simple type of life. You kind of live day to day,
It's a
right?
punishing lifestyle, bro. Trust me. It's like I've only had the chance to be in that for a short time, not because I was staying with someone in a hockey, and it's
You lived in a hockey now all
just
of
to
a sudden.
visit. No,
Oh,
just to
to
visit.
visit.
I never. That's why I'm saying, like, you have an idea of what it is like, and then you go and visit someone there, and you just spend like 2 days there, and you realize, like, when you now wake up there and you're walking around and you're like, damn, now I get a bit of why they have this crazy, not, it seems crazy, the mentality, like, you know, the power is there's a power cut, so now you go and you smash the transformer. For you and I, we think, what the heck? You're destroying infrastructure. You're setting yourself backwards. But when you realize what the life there is like, day to day, minute to minute, the thinking is different. Like, after a year of that, you're a different you're a different animal, bro. If you
Look
put a
at
person in a cage, don't be surprised that they become an animal. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that you said that, and I even mentioned Lulu before this, but me and him went to this lady's house. I'll just call her Mevrouw Schula, but
Mm.
that's not her real surname. German woman, very beautiful, probably about like 55 to 60, dude. Like an older woman, but just like I can't even explain to you why I'm saying that. So we pull up at her house, right? And she lives in one of the most luxurious places in Cape Town. And so we pull up there at a house, and immediately I notice a cable car. I'm like, wait, what? So I walk in there, and she says, oh, just take the cable car up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This, this
Yeah.
lady's got a cable car. Because, like, it's all in the hills there or on the side of a mountain. So this cable car literally takes you up to the main house. And there's two different. Anyways, um,
Yeah. There's two
yeah, I just
different
want to.
two different
I lost my train of thought because people are annoying. Um, and basically, there's two. The cable car stops at one stop essentially. That's like the front of the house, where the pool is, and then it goes up to the next part. But next to the cable car, there's these steps or like a staircase, but it's been designed to look like a mountain path. So when you actually kick it, you
Mm.
can feel it's like plastic or whatever they used to create it, to like fake stones and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just so that you can walk up there. Dude, This lady, I never once saw her take the cable car.
You always took the stairs.
Always took this, dude. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to do what she does, you know. And obviously the guys I was working with, like I was with 2, 3 guys, Vuyo, Lulu, and Classy. That's his name. So and like, you know, these are older guys, not maybe that old, but Lulu's a bit younger. And so they would always take the cable car, right? And I would walk up there and they would like laugh at me. But I was like, I'm getting a workout as well, going up and down this thing. And I remember Lulu, because we were obviously talking about the shacks.
Yeah.
He gets there and like we were having lunch and, you know, Mefro Shula, she brought us like lemon water and stuff. We were having our lunch. Dude, it's incredible. Having our lunch at this table, ocean. That's all you see in front of you. Just ocean. At this beautiful white house, and the sun is just in the sky like that. And Lulu was like, "What is this place?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna
like,
say
"What?"
that. What do you?
He was like, What building is this?" So I'm like, "No, this is a house." And he's like,
Oh shit!
"Can't be true."
He said that, eh?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, dude.
how can he said how can this be someone's house? He's like, for that one lady. I'm like, yeah, this is her house. And he looks at the cable car, he looks there, and he like, dude, his mind couldn't compute
He's
that
blown
this was
away.
real. Because he lives in a shack.
Yeah. Which
You
is
know,
like,
he's got
yeah, which is
5
like,
kids in one shack with a wife, where he's fighting off fleas because of the sand.
mm,
And he's sitting at a house that's overlooking the ocean that seems impossible. And he just went quiet after that. He's
dude,
like,
it's actually
you
heartbreaking.
lie.
He
Dude,
said
it is.
that.
I was like, yeah, he's like, you lie, man. And he just went quiet. And I saw his like demeanor just shift. Uh, yeah,
Dude,
I
let
was
that
actually trying
sink.
to bang Mrs. Schuler. You know, and she came to me, dude, which was interesting. Like, I don't know how I organized it, but
And you,
I
the
had it so
gall.
that
Sorry, but just the
I know,
nerve,
I know you had something to say, so rather
bro.
say it before I jump into some.
Obviously, it's not this woman's fault at all. Like, she has plenty, but she has plenty, and it's not like she stole it or something, but just the nerve that then some white South Africans have to pretend.
Well, look, remember she's German, right? She's
I
not even
know,
from South
I
Africa.
know I know. That's why I'm saying that. But what I'm trying to say is that the nerve of some white South Africans to try and say that the new South Africa is like apartheid or is even worse than apartheid. It's so disrespectful, you know. Even as a black person who has, I mean, you know, my life, it's been full of ups and downs. But like, even when we're in that flat in Zinfandel, compared to that worker Lulu, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not even.
You
He would
see,
look at that like, yo, look at this nice
you
place.
get what I'm saying. But like, to know that there are millions in those shacks, and then to with unashamedly just be like, yeah, this is apartheid for whites. It's like, go F yourself. Go F yourself into the next universe, because you have zero. You're so disconnected from the daily struggle and plight of millions of people. And you know what? There was a time, and you can say what you want, the Zulus and the Xhosas and them, they may not have had skyscrapers and horse shit filled streets like London at the time, but guess what? They were living free. They had their own system, and in their system, in their own economic system, they did not know such poverty. They did not know it, right? Because every system
Yeah, because you
develops.
had abundance. You
They
had
had
all
their
your
own
food you
form.
needed.
Exactly. They had their own form of abundance. And now, because of what people, and I'm not saying that because you're white in South Africa today, it's your fault, but you cannot try and deny that systematically and with purpose, black people in South Africa have had literally physically been removed from their land and wealth stolen. Okay, it's not just an economic game of chance. It's not a game of monopoly. Literally, laws and force was used to disenfranchise so many people of their own system because someone high up in government somewhere thought, you know what, if these blacks continue in their abundance, we're not going to have anyone to work in my house and wash my clothes for me. And we're not going to have anyone who's going to mow my lawn. And we're not going to have anyone who's going to want to work in my mines, right? And so they put systems in place to destroy that. And then you come along and you are like, oh, there was nothing here anyway. So everything we've built the roads for them, like Elon Musk's dad, who was like, oh well, we gave them everything, the roads and the stuff. There was nothing here. Like, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Seriously, dude. Because roads are not the most important thing. We know that. Roads are cool, but like, what's the point of having a beautiful road if you, as a person, can't even afford a car? If you, as a person, have your whole life lived out in a 3x3 meter tin shack, then you tell me about beautiful buildings. What does that mean to you? It means nothing. That's why Lulu's mind was blown. The guy doesn't even understand that woman might as well be the Queen of England. You know what I mean?
Dude, like, I
don't know.
Yeah, it's just, and that wasn't the only. I mean, dude, I am so grateful that I got to not just stay in, but also visit these. If you work at a place for 3 weeks, and it's just absolute luxury where, the one place had a. Oh my gosh, dude. Anyways, it's fine. It's all a part of the programming. People just keep entering my room the whole time. But the one place, it was called Van Staden. Oh my gosh, dude. An elevator. It's a triple story on the beach. Like, dude, I'm talking about, there's a road in front of it. It's the first house. Well, actually, it's the second house. There was a house before it, but you can obviously still hear me, right?
I can hear you, brother. I'm just letting you tell your story.
You went quiet. That's why.
I'm letting you tell your story. Yeah.
So the road is like, I guess it's not a cul-de-sac because there's no like circle on it. It's just like a dead end, right? And there's this road that leads outward to get out of this street, but then opposite the houses is the beach. The actual beach is right there.
Yeah.
And so I worked there as well. And dude, you walk into the house and right in front of you is an elevator, and you can take it up to the second story, you can take it up to the third story. And it's still one of the craziest things ever that on the second story they had a swimming pool, full on indoor swimming pool, dude.
In an apartment.
No, this is a full on house, dude. The elevator is in the house.
Yeah.
Like, this is, and Lulu was there as well. But for some reason, he was more accepting of that house. Or maybe at that point he had just gotten used to that, or maybe he thought that each floor was a different house or something. I don't really know. But I would, because back then I was still smoking and stuff. And I would just like smoke. I would go sit on top of the roof, and I'll just look at the beach, dude. And I'll be like, what is this? You know? It's even sometimes I felt a disparity of this is, and maybe not so much for myself, but because I had seen the difference of, because remember, we have to go drop off those guys when we worked too late. So I got to see how they lived.
Yeah.
You know, even with, I'll just call him Mr. J. I told you about him many times, even when he had essentially lost his arm. And it was because of that same situations. Now, personally, I feel that he shouldn't have. It was ego that led it. You know, the guy's like 65, and so just to give people an example of it. So at these shacks in these locations, there's a lot of sand. This is why you get these like horrible fleas, dude. And I've been bitten by them before just by being in proximity. You know, it's early morning, get into the bucky, two people sitting next to me, and then I feel something like, what is that? And I feel under my shirt here, and I actually grab it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this thing is like,
yeah.
Dude, you've never seen fleas that weird. Literally, it almost feels like it's gonna break out of your grip of your fingers.
It's so,
you're like, oh. just you just throw it out the window like, what? You know, and dude, not even 10 minutes later,
another
a huge welt on the side of my body here. Just a massive welt that actually hurts, dude. And like, it is itching, but you can't touch it. It's so sensitive there, dude. And I was like, what kind of fleas are these, dude? You know, these are like squatter camp fleas.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of sand. There's barely any waterproofing. They put up these tents, right, when they do their church. And basically what happened was there was water. It was raining during church, and the water was rushing in. And unfortunately, they got a bright idea. You know, Mr. J, he stood up. I can do it. And it's like, no, you just sit down. You're not even wearing your boots. You're wearing those, like, you know, church shoes or whatever it's called, the flats.
Slippery,
yeah. And now for a ladder, they used crates, like beer crates, dude. Like stacking them on top of each other and letting him climb up there. Like, it's just such a bad idea. Water pouring in, and then boom, it happened.
What?
Yeah, like just a big slip and a fall. Voop. All those crates just shoot out from under him. And his full weight landed on his arm, dude. I think it was actually his left arm. Wait, let me think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but like...
Yeah, it was his left arm. And dude, like the bones just shot right through his forearm, dude. Completely. Like, absolutely
I'm not laughing.
You already did. The bone just like, dude, like in so many different places of his arm. And he had to go to the hospital and stuff. And even the one, like, real racist dude was like, well, he's not getting his pay if he doesn't come to site. Like, I was just like, this dude has been in helping this company, if you will, for longer than you've been alive. And because you're in this position, you have the goal to, well, then I'm not going to pay him then. Like,
yeah.
Who are you? Like, just such a, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, just real racist, dude.
I also had
But basically his arm completely shriveled up because he refused the surgery. So it was like this. I've never seen such a tiny hand, dude. You know where it looks like you can, if you just tug at it, it'll just snap off like a dry
Why would he
Twig.
refuse surgery?
Because the doctor told him that he might never work again.
And now he's okay, but the arm is not
And
gonna.
The
Yeah.
arm is gone. The arm is like completely shriveled up, like biltong.
But you know, I want to share one story with you, and then I want us to move on from these stories of
because I know you got
of-
you were chimping out for a second.
Look, dude, there was this time. I'll never forget. I'll say his name. Tabani. No, Tembani. Tembani. He was working with me on the farm, right? I had several projects going.
Oh, so it's not someone else that we know.
No, it's not
Like
someone
you-
else.
Like your own personal friend.
Tembani, this Indebele guy, he'd work with us on the farm, and one day, on my mom's property, I was like, I want to build a chicken house. I'd already poured the slab some time ago, like a nice concrete slab. It was very good. Me and someone else, and so I was like, look, I've got these gum poles, I've got this material. I want to build a chicken house. It's quite big. It was quite big actually, like I'd say 100 and something square meters in surface area. And I spoke to Tembani about helping out. And I guess I'm ashamed, not ashamed, but I'll say, okay, yeah, I got him to help me for a really cheap price. But in retrospect, I mean, we did work together, side by side. Everything we worked together, dug everything, did everything. And he was a very hot-headed guy, very stubborn guy, and we had like admiration for each other, but also like conflict, you know? We'd shout to the point where like literally standing in each other's faces, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm gonna fuck you up. And but we didn't. And so he was working with me, and it was like getting towards the evening, we're almost done for the day.
But why it's so violent though? Like,
No, because we're just hot-headed people. You know what I mean? Like I'm also, I mean, now I would like to say I'm a calmer person, but you know me, I have like this, I can get pretty, like just don't cross the line. Like just let's all stay this side so that I can be a nice person, you can be a nice person. Because if I step over the line, even I'm not going to recognize myself. So let's not do it. But when I was younger, I was obviously more in contact with that very temperamental side of myself. And he was, like I said, he was also a very temperamental dude. But both of us hardworking. Anyway, so at the end of the day, we've just finished this beautiful chicken house, and I'm like about to give him his cash, and he arranged this like small bag of weed, and we rolled it up, and I hadn't smoked in ages, and we rolled it up and we smoked it, and you know, I gave him his cash, and I was in this like kind of meditative state where I was like watching him. And what I mean by that is there are these, and this is very weird indeed. Like these girls came past, and I literally mean girls.
oh boy.
They must have been like maximum 14, okay? And they came past the yard outside the fence, and they were talking to him. And the way they were talking, it was like flirtatious, like they were flirting with each other. And I was watching this as well. Obviously, I didn't approve of it, but I thought to myself,
you were like, screw him. You gave me another reason to hate him.
no, you know why? It's because in that moment, I stepped into his life. I mean, this guy is illegally in the country. By the way, this is not a confession of guilt. This is purely a fictional story, in case anyone is watching, who's interested.
Okay. So you're a liar now.
No, exactly. I'd rather be a liar than in jail. And
I won't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
And He was living there illegally. Obviously, no bank account. All the things that he owned could probably have been put together in one suitcase. And who does he interact with on a daily basis that is actually his equal? Like, think about like a woman his age. Will never talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously married, or they would be married or something. Or,
Yes, he and
Yeah.
and his circumstance. And I just, as I was sitting there, I realized that, like, you know, as hard as I'm working right now and have been working for these years, this guy's life is hard. And I felt like an empathy that to this day I carry with me. Like, I'll never forget it. A deep empathy for.
But does he feel that way?
I don't know.
Because, you know, a lot of those guys, they actually having a good time, dude.
Mikey, but I think
they're not in the country that they came from where it was really bad. Yes, they don't have as much as what other people have here or wherever you were, but compared to where they came from, this is heaven.
No, but Mikey, that's a fallacy. That's what people tell themselves to make themselves feel good. Obviously, just because the slaves are singing and dancing doesn't mean that they're happy to
Down
be
by the river.
Yeah, like you're this. It's like, not that I'm saying that that's how you're thinking, but like it's like the slave master saying, "You see, my Negroes are happy, singing and dancing all the time." No, they're finding joy. They're finding joy. Yeah, they're finding joy in what they have, right? But it doesn't mean that there aren't moments before going to bed where they sit there and they're like, Lord, Father, where will this end? All it takes for
when will this end?
Yeah, because if I'm sick for 1 week, I won't eat and I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I get one
injury, you can't afford to be sick.
Can't afford to be sick. Can't afford to be, you know, it ends. It's like, you get it? And we take that for granted. Just because they're smiling and they're singing or they're happy, it doesn't mean that they're completely ignorant of their plight. They are still, at some point in the day, they just sit there and they go, ish, what else can I do? And they find a way to carry on. And that's the beauty, the resilience of the human spirit, that even when there's no reason to smile, they get up and they're like, I'm going to do this. But and then you have someone who has everything. They have their own home, they make millions of dollars, they have a beautiful family, and they are like, I'm depressed. Go fuck yourself. Like, for real, go fuck yourself.
The thing is, you can't... This is like saying that things of the spirit have anything to do with material, when it's just not true. So just because someone has millions of dollars in a family and a home, that doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden they should be happy.
It does.
Maybe for the person who doesn't have it, they will be like, how can you not be happy?
No, but it does, Mikey, because you see, your problem is that you cannot find a reason to be joyous, right? But it's not that the material things give you joy necessarily, but you can find joy. You have the resources. You can say, you know what, I'm not happy with what I have, so I'm going to lock everything up. I can buy a ticket to another place. I can buy a ticket to some guru. I can even say, I'm going to go live on the street for 6 months to rediscover joy. You have the possibilities of doing that, and you don't do it. And you know why I'm saying this is because I was reading this book. I guess it's a book or an essay of Nietzsche, and in it he was discussing a very interesting idea, I thought, the correlation between, I'm translating roughly now because I read it in German. The correlation, it was like the Greek.
Say it in German and then translate.
It was like the Greek tragedy. It's like tragedy and the Greek Heiterkeit. Basically, he's talking about when a society begins to write tragedies, it's almost like a symptom of an underlying depression. And it's interesting to note that societies that develop well, right, like they begin to have writing, reading, they begin to have civilization, suddenly at some point they develop a depression. It's almost like not having the struggle depresses them. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it's what people got from a lot of what you're talking about is what scholars and academics have pulled from, like the Odyssey and the Iliad and stuff.
yes,
Is
he
that
was discussing
that's
those.
the underlying story of what these stories are representing, that people have like this depression
When everything is going good.
exactly.
And it's like a
No,
it's
I
like
wanted
an illness.
I wanted to bring it back because I wasn't done making a point about
Okay, go ahead.
is that, and the reason I'm saying it is because when you have all those things, and I'm not relating it to what you said about the depression, that's like a real thing. But what I'm talking about in terms of a guy who lives in a squatter camp versus a guy who has a house and a family and all these types of things, you would imagine that the dude who has all those things, he has this freedom and whatever. But really, what they discover most of the time is that they have no time to do anything spiritual or seek something deeper because there's too much responsibility. I have employees I have to pay. You know, I have a job. I have lights to keep on. There's this house that's not cheap. I have kids to put through school. Whereas the other guy who's at the squatter camp, he earns that little bit of money, but you know, his kids go to a government school
No,
and
no. They have the same responsibilities, Mikey. The problem is, if I can be so quick to diagnose it, remember, that guy in the squatter camp, he also has kids to feed. He also needs to buy them clothes. He also has to find a source of electricity, even if he's stealing it. He also has all those same responsibilities. The necessities of life, they don't disappear. But who told you that instead of buying...
that you were naked.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Exactly. Who told you that? Why is it that a person who earns well will go out and get a car loan to buy a very expensive car that they can actually barely afford? Why do you need to put that pressure on yourself? Because if you just lived within your means, you would find that you have everything. But it's not like that. You have people, they make 24 million a year and their expenditures every year are like 30 million. Why? You don't have to. You don't need that. You don't have to throw a $1 million soiree.
Wedding.
Not even a wedding. Yeah,
'Cause
like
you know,
why?
but you know that's always the big one, right? Even for like, especially for a lot of Africans, the wedding celebration is like this. You're spending so much money for no reason.
Not just Africans, bro. Even white people. Even trust me.
Yeah, I know,
seen,
but
I've seen people's.
here it's like it's a big. It's almost like it's one of the ticks, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, we have money. Look at our wedding. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's obviously a universal thing, but just my experience here has been like that.
I think that's
yeah.
I think the problem, like what I'm trying to get to, is that we are stumbling upon blocks that we have placed in our own way. It's like that meme where you're riding a bicycle and it's beautiful, and then you pick up a stick and you just like put the stick in your own
Yeah.
spokes, and then you fall and you're like, oh, what happened? Like, everything is good. And that's, let me take one more example. Germany, for example, after World War II was absolutely ruined. Okay, the people, the elderly people who have lived through that time are some of the most humble people you'll meet. Why? Because they knew that we were just eating bread and cheese for months. You know, our mothers were sewing, our mothers were taking sackcloths from flour that you'd buy 50 kgs of and making clothes from that. Our mothers will, there'll be a tear in my jacket. My mom will sew it up, right? So they know that there's a difference between what you want and what you need. And if you can cover what you need, then everything above that is a surplus. But today we live in a world where if I don't have the $1,000 or the $200 Nike like the other kids in my school, then I'm depressed and suicidal. Why? You see, we are our own poison. We are poisoning ourselves. It's not coming from anywhere. It's not coming from need. It's psychological. We're like,
but then again, you
man.
could say the same thing is it's not coming from the white man or the black man or the poor man or the rich man. It's something that is coming from within ourselves.
Yes, it is.
You could use that same brush and stroke it that way. Pause.
No, not it's exactly, that's exactly it. You see, that's my whole point. Is earlier coming back to what I was saying before, is that some white folk will say, well, there wasn't anything developed here. We built roads, we put buildings up and all of that. Why does that matter? Because even without those concrete roads, those African societies, if to them, in their system of organization and culture, they were wealthy. You know, oh, I have 1,000 head of cattle and I have 5 children and I have 2 wives.
There's vegetables,
and
there's fruit,
you see,
there's land.
Everything I need is here. I am in paradise. And then someone comes along and tells you, this is rubbish. You're not even wearing suits. Like, what? I don't need a suit. Like, everything I
Where's
need
your
is
shoes?
You see, and it's that, and that's the thing. Like, you can't come and tell you can't go to the Amazon rainforest and go and tell this person you are living in poverty. They don't know that. To them, they are living well, and that's the point.
Obviously not all of them, because I said they were begging bread because of the deforestation that's been happening.
Yeah, that's another.
All the animals are being pushed out, but before that, obviously they were fine.
Yes, and that's my whole point. Is we are stumbling on our own poison, and it's. I mean, why, for example, are people in anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. Like, you know, suicide rates in Denmark and in Finland, in Scandinavian countries are like sky high, even though they have a lot of everything, even though they have the heating.
You keep going back to like material things, and I keep telling you that that's not what it is.
No, it is, because your mind should be able to tell
you think that you should be more comfortable. I have heating. I don't have to worry about the climate or anything like that. So now I actually have more time to quote unquote go within. But really, if you don't know you're supposed to do that, it might even make it more hellish. Whereas if you're struggling, you might be a little bit too distracted, and actually through that pain you might actually find your center easier than if you're comfortable.
Yeah, but we're agreeing. It's just that you're seeing it a different way. What I'm saying is that, shouldn't we, I guess what I'm asking is a question, is should you not be able to look in the mirror and say, John, you're full of shit for being depressed right now. You are being full of shit. There's actually no reason for me to be depressed. I have the time.
But it's
If you can just go outside, for example, on a summer's day and look at the birds and look at and contemplate the miracle of life. And not only the miracle of life itself, but you, in all likelihood, even in your middle income job, are literally at the pinnacle of that creation. Nothing has ever had it as good as you do. But for some reason, you feel like life isn't worth living. That's your problem. It's our problem. There is no real problem. It's like we are creating an enemy that doesn't exist. Does that make sense? So
no, it does. It's just, and it's because of probably the idea that any type of suffering is bad. So if we can eradicate all suffering, we should be good. But now we end up creating our own suffering because we actually need it in like some type of weird balancing thing.
Yeah.
So this is why people who are depressed, when they start exercising, all of a sudden they're like, hey, I feel much better. Because now you are
punishing yourself in a way.
synthesizing the suffering, right? By lifting the weights and running the miles and pushing yourself beyond. You're now creating your own suffering. And
so
now
we
you feel
need
better.
suffering almost.
Exactly.
We need that suffering.
I once said this to one of my exes, and she's like, "You've become so dark," and I was like, "No, I'm figuring something out." Like, because we always trying to eradicate it, all the suffering the whole time.
Yeah.
But what if it's necessary, especially when you can control it? And so this is why.
The key. I think that's a key word. Suffering that you can control. But anyway.
Yeah, because think about it this way. If you don't, quote unquote, create your own suffering, then life is going to create it for you. Somehow, in some way. I'm not saying that you can control it completely like that.
Yeah.
So this is why, for instance, when I tell people, oh, the first thing I do when I open my eyes is I basically get into a better position, maybe sitting on this chair, and I meditate. And that's when things are the most hectic. That's like, it can be real suffering when, I don't want to sit here. Maybe I should jump in the shower. Or maybe I must just put my phone on charge beforehand. Oh yeah, that person said that yesterday. Oh man, I didn't have a good sleep. Why did someone come disturb me? That all these things just like are happening, especially when you wake up. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying before about like the direct path and the indirect path, where the direct path is just sitting in all of that, just letting it happen. And that in itself it's like, and I've coined this as it's sitting in the sauna of your mind. Where obviously we've all been in a sauna, but you just like, okay, if I can just sit there a little bit longer. Then when you get out, you're like, that was intense, right? And that's why sauna or cold plunges and all these things, these are just good for that same thing. You're controlling the suffering. But I honestly feel like the meditation, it does way more than that, because that's the part that people are running away from most of the time. You're going on your phone because you are thinking something you don't want to think about, some lingering thoughts. You go on your phone, well, let me watch a video to distract myself. Okay, now I'm getting up, I can shower. and the whole day, oh, let me have my coffee. The whole day you're trying to get away from those thoughts. And then even worse, you have people now who can't even go to sleep without something that's playing the whole time. Even that last bit of like stillness is too much. It's and they're tossing and they're turning, and it's like, let me just put something on, to fall asleep to. That's why a lot of those things are so popular these days.
Yeah. But that's the weird thing. As I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about this really. I
also wanted to talk about this thing with like, because we mentioned squatter camps quite a few times in this chat, but there's this one lady who I'm sure at this point, I mean, she's a multimillionaire, like has to be, drives a really nice Mercedes, black lady. And what she does is she actually rents out squatter camps. So it's like a lot of people will be like very surprised to know how it actually works in the locations. Many people think that, someone builds me a hockey and then I just live there for free and someone hooks up my electricity. That's how people from the outside look at it, right? Oh, it can't cost anything to live there. And you couldn't be couldn't be further from the truth. You couldn't be more wrong. The things that happen there is exactly how it happens in any part of society. Where there's like a smaller hockey, which is, I mean, dude, we're talking like 2x2 even. It's attached to the side of some shop or something, and even that would be more expensive. I'm just going to use
double-story shacks. When I saw that for the first time, I was like, "What?"
Dude, you've seen shacks even with DSTV and stuff, like cable, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use African rands. So a small thing like that is like $500 a month.
Yes, bro.
Then you have ones that are like 1,000 rand, where it's 3x3. Then you've got the other ones where it's like, I think 2 rooms, and that's like 3,000 rand. And then you get the luxury ones, which is 5K.
And luxury what? Squatter.
Luxury shack.
Luxury shack, bro. You can get a flat for that. But anyway, continue. I'll tell you.
The reason why is because they've actually put in insulation. So that's one of the harshest things about living in a shack is the cold and the heat.
Yeah.
You have no protection at all. During the cold, it is freezing cold. And
because it's metal. It's metal. You're living in a metal house.
Have actually died. Exactly. And then obviously in the summer, you're just being cooked in a metal house.
Yeah.
So for the 5K, they put in like the insulation. And I think even some floors. And this lady, dude, owns like, almost think about like 2 blocks of shacks. Like, I think they were saying something like over 100. And she was vicious, dude. Like they say, she's vicious. Because there's no regulation there.
Yeah.
So if you don't pay, there's goons that like pull up there and they literally pull you and your family out.
Yeah.
And before, like the next hour, there's a new family in there setting up their stuff. But and this lady, a brand new Mercedes.
That's
like, I don't know what happened to her, but people like literally say like she's one of the most evil people. And I'm talking about the people who like have been thrown out of their shacks and who know her. And a lot of people treat her like a celebrity.
But that's
I was like, that's like, whew.
That's the thing that you got to realize is that for people like ourselves who know better, right? So education and exposure is amazing. So you have someone who's never been taught to deal with the tax system. They pay every single penny. And then you've got someone like me who comes from, you know how it is, like just the fact that I had a mother and a father who are like, why don't you read about it? Why don't you find out about it? Building the characteristic, the trait within me to say, I will research this. And then I deal with the tax system, and every year I get tax returns. And I use that tax return to take my family on holiday, to take myself on a boys' trip, right? To you know, whatever we kind of like, oh, let's get a new TV. And then you have people, and that's just a simple example. And then you have people who never built that characteristic of even reading books, of ever researching anything, not even using Google to like, hey, let me find out what this is. And they pay every single cent. And that's how the poverty and the wealth divide, it keeps growing, simply because you've got people
education.
like education. And it's not just book education in school, but it's that, because, you know, and that's, those people are being exploited. Like, if you could go to that,
Of course,
yeah,
dude.
if you could go to that family in the shack that's paying 5,000 every month, and you go to them and you're like, do you know that you can actually go to Brackenfell and you can get an actual flat, 2 bedrooms, bathroom, lounge, kitchen for 5,000 rand a month? They'll be like, what?
But you must know, but it's not even that, dude. You must remember, it's, you want me to be removed and plucked out of my society, my friends, and everybody's here. These are my people. You want me to go live there by the white man who's
like
gonna steal something
like
from?
Morpheus said, and this is why the Matrix, especially Enter the Matrix, the first Matrix in the Matrix series, will remain one of the best movies ever, because he says, Morpheus says, it is a prison of their minds. People are literally living in prisons that they constructed, things that they told themselves, I cannot be, I cannot do. And even if you show it to them, they cannot accept it. And that's so, it would be funny if it weren't so sad, if it weren't so deplorable. We are living in prisons of our own minds.
It's interesting that you said that thing about like the tax returns, because I learned that very young. Obviously, being in the film industry, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of money like you have to make a year, and if you don't make that, you get what's called tax back. So you would go to the revenue service, SARS, and we would have to go there, and you would get like a lot of money, dude, back at the end of every year, because you've worked all these jobs
and you paid
but
too much
you haven't
tax.
made exactly, and then you get it back, dude, and you're like, oh, it's like a literally, it's just another paycheck that was always being kept for you, and you're like, oh, nice, I got this. So that's also kind of the things where you learn a lot, and this is why I always told and tell so many people, like especially when you're younger, like I did, just work anything. Like, who cares what you're working? What you're going to learn is going to be so much more valuable, and then later on you can be like, I've worked all these different things, and you know what, I'm actually going to go off in this direction that I want to go off into. But you have people who, like, they don't want to do that. They don't want to work at all. Like, you know, I loved being a marshal, right? Talking on radio comms to, you know, to all the other guys. Guy taking his time around bridge, hurry him up, copy. Okay, I'll do it, copy. You know, just like, and the sun is baking down on you, and you're like, yo, it's so hot today. You know, and you're just out there, and you're doing something, and you're learning about people. I think that's the number one thing when you work in all these different things. And I always bring it up where I said I ran the holiday club, bro. That's a different level. I don't care who you are. When you're in charge of like 25 kids, oh my goodness. The fear that is in you, because these are people's children now, right? And so basically what happens is that the parents, they can't afford to go on holiday, right? But it's the school holiday. So they still have to go to work. But now who's going to take care of the kids? They're not going to school. So then they have like these holiday club things. And it was during when I was still in college. I like the lady came to me of like the center in the town, and someone had told her like I can do it, and obviously this other chick as well. And I was like, what, money? Of course I'll take money, you know.
Yeah.
And it was such a crazy experience, and because you realize like, oh, children are just like little humans, you know. And so you can actually talk to them like that. And then I realized like, oh, that's why I didn't like when I was a kid how people would talk to you like you don't know how to think. If you literally just take the time and you listen to what they say and you speak to them in a language that they can understand, wonders happens. I mean, it even used to like, I didn't even like giving out the punishment where, you know, you have to go sit in the naughty corner and then explain to them why this happened and everything. And then there's forgiveness, and they like, you see them chatting again, and he doesn't hit this one chick, or he doesn't hit the one guy, or take this person's toy or whatever. And then not just that, when I had to, dude, I did 2 outings. It's, dude, I'll say right now, it's one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. When you can order the taxi, right? So I had to get 2 taxis. The one chick I had to ask to help me on that occasion, obviously. 2 taxis, go to the casino. I know it sounds weird,
yeah,
but
okay.
yeah,
The kid's just like,
but
lucky number 7.
yeah, dude. So because there was an ice rink there,
Oh yes,
and
yeah,
there's also an arcade.
yeah.
But now,
Class,
you know,
so good.
not everybody wanted to ice skate.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, half of them want to go. I put it on the paper. Okay, these guys want to go to the arcade, and these want to go to the ice rink. Dude, okay, it is the morning, so you can kind of keep a better eye on things. But when I tell you how my heart was beating at every minute, like, where did that kid go? You know, no, just your senses just tighten.
But I
And
think there's a
it
point you're
was,
trying to make, yeah.
no, my point is that by just saying yes, you know, like in Yes Man,
Yeah.
no man, no man,
Yeah.
no man. I kind of got that concept of your life is gonna throw you into these things, and of course it's not glamorous half the time, but it's so rewarding at the same time. And there's actually only one incident where I had to throw a father out, which was, it's kind of brutal, because there was some type of like, I don't know if it was a restraining order or something like that, and the mother had told the lady who hired me to be careful of this guy who might show up there and all these things. And then I remember I was ice skating and I saw the one boy, like he went to the side and he was like talking to some grown man. And dude, like the rage that immediately just switches you on, like, what is this guy doing? You know, you just immediately, boom, I go out there. Actually took my skates off because, you know, you don't want to be like, you know, trying to chase after someone with that. So just kick them off on my socks. I'm like, what's going on here? But I actually heard like dad, right? The son
Oh.
was talking to him. And I remember the dad looked at me and his eyes were just completely bloodshot. And I don't know if he was crying or something, or if he was like on drugs.
Mm.
And I I was like, oh, this is the guy that they were talking about. And I'm like, hey, look, I can't have anybody talking to the children. I don't know you. I have to take care of them. Like, I'm gonna have to ask you to back off. And there was a bit of like, oh, I just want to tell my son this, and I had to put the hand up. I can't get out of here. And he just started like weeping like that, and I'm like, look here, try do it
Amba.
on some other time, but I can't have you
Yeah.
speaking to the children like that. Um, but anyways, that's just the point of experience. I know we
Yeah.
segued a little bit here,
No,
just to
but
get
you.
away from some of the dark sayings
Yeah.
about women exploiting people and people
Um.
in squatter camps who are
Yeah.
just extremely poor and other people. And you know what was interesting about Yefroshula, which was even like the worst thing, was at the back of her house there was like this very nice what would you even call it, granny flat, I guess is what they known as.
Yeah. Like.
Very nice. And her son lived there, who was this like just absolute drug addict, just a sloppy mess. He'd always be moping, walking up and down like this, always taking the cable car, then he would like disappear. And we worked a job for like, I think 2 weeks or something. And then he was there, and then he would be gone for like 3 days, and then he would just randomly come back in the same clothes. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah. There's something. Human beings. What is this human condition that we have? You know, um, prisons of our own minds. You know, we. But yeah. But that's why.
The key thing is this, and this is what I always say, and people say, this is where I always say I lose people, is when I start talking about doing some type of inner work, right? We've all grown up with something or heard about something. Some people grew up in a Christian home, some people Muslim, Hindu, whatever it is. And I think it was Carl Jung who actually spoke about it. He said that after 35, he had never seen anybody like heal in terms of whatever they're going through without going back to that childhood faith that they had growing up. There's something there that brings them to some form of a higher power.
Yeah.
That can lift you out of that carnal mind that you're struggling with the whole time, and then reconnect you with something that's, those loving arms, as they say, like in the bosom of the Father type of thing. And this is a psychoanalyst, whatever you call them,
Psychoanalyst. Yeah.
who were saying that.
Oh.
So there's something important about that, and we're too clever. Everybody's too clever. Everybody knows everything. I don't have time for that religion stuff. And look, I understand that religion hasn't done a good job of real things that are spiritual because of organization and money and all these types of things.
Yes.
And for the most part, they've done a great deal of damage.
All of them,
But
all religions, even
all
Buddhism.
of the
Wherever
all
you
of it,
organize,
exactly.
wherever you organize people to try and create a religion, you're already, yeah. That's why
Even
I,
there's this. Yeah, that's why you.
that's why I avoid it. Like I will, when someone is like, "Oh, come to church, come to this," thank you, no, thank you, because I will just do it at home. I will do it
Dude, you
myself.
shouldn't. I'll tell you something now. Like, I've gone many times where people have asked me, "Hey, come with me to the service this weekend or this Sunday," and the initial response is like, "Are you crazy? I don't do that. I watch anime on Sundays." You know what I'm saying? But became a point where I just started saying, "Okay, cool." I don't know what it was for, why I started saying it and actually going. I guess I just wanted to see, like, I don't want to say I wanted to make fun, but I just wanted to just be reminded of how, like, this organized religion is so stupid, right? But then you start realizing, like, there's something else that's moving in there that's got nothing to do with what these people are actually doing. Something about people joining together and, like some type of community.
It is
And then,
communion. It's communion. That's what it is.
yeah, and not like the Eucharist, but just like
Yeah.
community. And and then realizing, like, oh yeah, but they're not asking me the next week, right? So that was an important thing to me. It's like, oh, like, and this is also maybe a little bit out there, but sometimes things will just pop up in your life. And if you aren't sitting there contemplating and being like, okay, so why is this popping up in my life right now? Like, what is the reason for this? Like, I'm obviously there's something I'm supposed to do with this, and not just be like, oh no, I don't have time for that. And I've noticed that when you actually say yes to those things, even if you don't want to, weirder things will take place. For instance, I don't know if I've told this story before. If I have, it's my bad.
Tell it.
I was walking to the shop, and it was dude, it's one of those days where I feel like I've told the story, but I'll just say it again. It's so hot, dude. And I go to the shop and I see in front of me, like next to the shop, there's this shopping cart. I'm like, oh, some homeless person is here. And I just see this guy. Dude, his whole face it's like, it's wrinkled, dude. Wrinkled. I see he's like on the sides of his mouth, he's got full on cotton mouth. And he's just, boss, like, boss, please, like, give some money. And I was just like, yo, you can see he's not one of the local bums. This guy came from somewhere.
Do you
right?
have to call him a bum? Homeless person, not a local. Okay.
Vagabond. I don't know. And so I was just like, it's the same thing as always. Like, I don't have any cash on me. I've got a card. Like, I don't know. So I'm just like, I don't have anything to give you. And I go into the shop, and then I go to the counter. I bought the stuff that I needed, and then I just stopped. And I was like, you know what? At least I can grab him a water, right? Because it's so hot.
Yeah.
I know he wants money or something, but the water, that should be enough. So I go back, I get the water. I come walking past him. He's he's like this. Like, head completely bent over. Just like sitting up against the wall. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, like his eyes go bright. He takes the water. Dude, and I'm walking away. And I promise you, there's like a weird feeling that I have. And I was like, what is that? And I'm walking and I'm walking. And I probably get maybe not 100 meters. I'd say from the shop to that stop street, it's probably like 50, 60 meters, right? And I just feel like there's something like behind me the whole time. And so like I turn and I look, dude, and I see this guy's face, and he's like holding the bottle like this, and he has this big smile on his face. Dude, his whole face was changed. He had a young face, and he was just smiling at me, almost like it wasn't even the same person. And I looked, and I was like, "What? Who the hell is that?" And just like smiling at me, dude. And I was like, "What?" And I kept walking. I felt it the whole way through, dude. And that to me was one of the strangest experiences because, first of all, the guy had an old, wrinkled face.
Mm.
And then he had this young face and he was looking at me. And then the whole time in my head, I was like, is that whole thing when people talk about like angels or whatever? Like, I know it sounds crazy. I
No,
know,
it
but
doesn't, not at all. You know,
it's just like it took a form of this homeless guy that I'd never seen in the area before. I gave the water, and then it was like this. Dude, I can remember the face in my head so clearly. It's this black guy with like very, very smooth skin. Like looks like a
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Very, very strange, dude.
um that's a beautiful story, you know, of humanity, like, because even though you couldn't give him a lot, you gave him something that had thought behind it. You said to yourself, this, he will need this. I can give this to him. I can't give him everything he needs, but I can give him something
Yeah.
that will actually, and that's the beautiful thing, you know, when you give with a mind and heart that actually wants to give something that can help, you're doing an amazing thing. And that's where, like you said, there's people who've said that, and even who said it was in the Bible, like, you know, you never know, it might be an angel, a stranger that you're helping, that you're showing kindness to, and it could
What
quite
if God was
one of
us?
us. Yeah, just a stranger on a bus trying to find his way home.
Way.
That's a very good song, and it's like actually very, very deep.
No, but then they'll tell you, no, don't listen to that new age stuff.
Mm,
And it's like, and that's organized religion for you, to pull
yeah,
it back to that.
yeah, that's
You
organized
see,
religion.
don't read those Harry Potter books. We
Yeah.
burn those books. I don't want to go on a rant about. I had like this whole rant in my head. I was just going on about it, like, you know, where it's like in the Bible, like, because they say like, oh, but they have like they're sacrificing animals and stuff, like these witches and wizards, which I don't agree with at any time. Because like Eye of Newt, leg of frog, like you have to get that from something, right?
Yeah.
So you're obviously killing off an animal to get those ingredients. So like I'm completely against that. But then you don't have to turn too far in the Old Testament to see animals being killed and burnt next to frankincense and myrrh as sacrifices.
Yeah, well, you know,
Same
that's,
type of ritualistic thing,
yeah.
but no, they bad, ours is good.
Yeah, but you know, that's, oh man, we're gonna open up a whole can of worms here, but
I'm just saying
yeah,
there's like
yeah,
this hypocrisy that's just so like, what are you even talking about?
but
You're doing the same thing.
but you see, that's the thing, is that it's, you can do the same thing but with a different mind and a different end in mind, right? So that's why, um
Well, that
you
would be
will,
like saying that everything that witches and stuff do is only to put curses on people and stuff like that.
yeah, but if it depends on what kind of, I know that here already we're going to create a watershed, but the question is, what kind of witch are you talking about? Because there are witches who believe in doing good, as they would call
They call
themselves.
them white witches.
Exactly. They are pagans, right? They are pagans, but they believe in doing good. But then there are those who are And you don't even have to be a witch. Like, that's the craziest thing. I've seen people who, I'm pretty sure they're not black wizards or witches, but their behavior, it's like witchcraft and it's like dark
Yeah.
magic, especially if you have an understanding of like the psychological drama and the psychological impact of words and actions. You realize that, wait a minute, it's like this person literally read this book that I've read, where they did, because I've told you before, like I have read books on dark magic because I wanted to know. I didn't want to live behind an
Yeah, that
illusion.
Gardener guy or something you mentioned.
Yeah, well,
In like
Gerald
the
Gardner's
first
not
episode.
Gerald Gardner. Gerald Busseau Gardner. He discusses a little bit of it, but he doesn't go into it because he is what he would consider himself probably a white witch, or maybe he even doesn't believe in either one, which is a bit like okay, kind of sounds like you're a dark wizard.
Isn't a male witch just a gay guy?
A warlock? No, a warlock or something.
I mean, wouldn't it be a wizard if it's a dude?
It's slightly different because a witch is specifically attached to the pagan element, like the goddess and god and goddess worship, you understand? Whereas a wizard could be an alchemist. A wizard is basically just someone who
maybe someone who
subdues the
metaphysics.
elements. Yes, who masters the
So like
five
conjures.
elements of wind, fire, earth, water, and
the wizards
spirit.
right now are just like punching the air. They don't know what they're talking about. Abracadabra.
But what I'm trying to say is that because you're saying it's the same thing, and I agree with you, and I'm just putting this little like asterisk there and saying very important is the ends to which you are fulfilling it, and very important also is that in the Bible, God, you don't have to believe in God or whatever. I'm just telling you, in the Bible, God didn't really want that. He was just accepting it because it was like preschool. Like basically he had taken the nation of Israel through preschool. The whole Aaronic priesthood is actually just preschool. It's a foreshadowing of what he actually wants because he knows that people weren't ready. And it sounds stupid, but you have to understand something. Many of the rights and the liberties and the ideals that we have today, like human rights, every human soul is worth something, protect children, this wasn't always a given. You understand? It wasn't always like that. For thousands of years, that was not a given thing. So once Jesus came, he was saying, look, guys, that law, that was just because you weren't good enough. But now that I'm here, I'm coming in with the higher law. You understand? Like like your maths teacher in primary school would tell you there's no such thing as negative numbers. You can't say 2 minus 3. And then one day your teacher comes to you and is like, remember that thing I was telling you about how you can't make 2 minus 3? Well, actually, that's a lie.
It's minus 5.
It's minus 1. 2 minus 3 is minus 1.
2 minus I was 3. Thinking negative 2.
Negative 2 plus
negative 3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. But you see,
is it plus or is it?
No,
I don't know maths that well.
Doing. Okay, but my point is, it's in stages. You understand? He's giving you what he believes you can understand and what you can do now, but it's not enough. It was never enough, and that's why. And this is recorded even in the Jewish scriptures and in their books of law. There was a time, 40 years before the destruction of the temple, where God no longer showed favor on those sacrifices. He was no longer giving them the signs of, yes, I've accepted it. There were like 3 or 4 things that had to happen to show that, okay, I've
But there
accepted
was
your
still,
sacrifice for the sins of the
but
nation.
you must remember there was still the thing with Abraham and Isaac, and they ended up slaughtering a ram anyways that was given. So it's not like that wasn't, and I know what you're saying, it was preschool and it was a way to start them off, but at the end of the day it's still the same thing. And then going, obviously, because we're comparing this to the witches thing, then people would also say that, okay, that's the first thing I said, right? Killing animals for some type of output. Okay,
Yeah.
both are doing it however you want to say, this is good, that one's bad.
Yeah.
The next one is then you would say, oh no, but they put curses on people and stuff.
Who?
Right. Witches.
Yeah. Okay.
But then look at the other side of the plagues on Egypt. You know, you had the locusts, and you had the blood. You know, the water turned to blood, or was raining down, or whatever it was. And then not just that, you had all the firstborns got killed, which is like, whoa, okay, this is like,
yeah, it's a heavy
wow.
punishment. Yeah.
So is that not the same thing? Like, oh, I'm conjuring something to punish you guys. And then obviously people would say, no, this was Yahweh or whatever they say.
That's a fair point. Let me explain that as well. My point, my understanding of it is that it's a punishment. So if you drink and drive as a young boy or young woman, you're 18 years old, you just got your license, or 16 in America, but like in South Africa, let's take it countries where 18, because where drinking starts at 18 and driving. You drink and drive. Your mother or your father catches you. They say, you're not going to do this. Don't do that. I'm taking your car away for a month. Right? They're doing it to protect you. Then you get your car keys back. You do it again. This time they're like, I'm not going to give you the car, or they give you some other punishment. Then finally, you do it again. You drink and you drive. And you end up killing one of your friends, or even a pedestrian on the road, or someone in another car. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, there's going to be a punishment. Are you going to take the word now? Are you going to listen? You don't want to listen. Then I'm going to upgrade it to another punishment. And you keep saying, I'm not going to do it. I don't care. Eventually, you will pay a very steep price. And when you do pay that very steep price, because remember, Pharaoh could have said, you know what, I'm sick and tired of these frogs and these locusts. Let these effing people go. But he couldn't he couldn't do it. And you know why? Not because it was
He's running a business.
No, it's not even because he desperately needed those people. It's just because of pride. His pride couldn't let him do it. His pride told him, I am the son, I am a living God. That's what he believed from childhood. I am a living God. And there's no one or nothing that can tell me what to do. And in the end, he paid that high price. Am I saying that it's good? Of course not.
Even the guy who was like, yeah, let's just let him go, man. Like one of the lower workers. And then his firstborn gets killed. You know.
Yeah, but that's the thing,
he didn't
right?
Rub lamb's blood on the top of his door, or whatever it is. I'm just saying that I thought about this example.
Make no mistake, don't forget there were also a lot of there's also a lot of Egyptians who left with the Israelites, which means that there were people who told.
But if you didn't put the blood on top of the
Yes,
door,
but
you're
that's what
losing your kid anyways.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to say to you is that, remember, not everything is written in the Bible. I mean, there's limited number of text, right? Which means that there were people who were very, very close friends, like you and I'm an Israelite, but you're an Egyptian, but we live together.
Your name's Israel.
No, I'm just saying, okay? You can be the Israelite if you want to be.
I don't want to. I'm Pharaoh.
My point is, I would have come to you and I would have said, Mikey, listen very carefully, my good friend, my best friend. Something is coming.
Light this burning bush with me. God spoke to me yesterday.
And I say to you, listen up, take this blood and put it on the post of your door because something is coming. And you would have done it, and you, in your house, your oldest brother would have been spared, and you would have woken up the next day and would have realized that, oh my goodness, my
to
friend.
Wailing and lamentation.
Yes, to wailing and lamentation. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't know what this is, but their God is real. I'm going with them. You get what I'm saying? So there was
but
also
this is
that.
this is what I'm saying. Okay, I understand everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
Now take that text and put it in a pagan book. That exact story. What would people say about it?
Oh well,
this
people
is absolutely evil. This is. Did you see what they did? They had to put lamb's blood on the doors, and the spirit came and killed all the people, and it put a plague on them, and blood came from the air.
Yeah, you're right. They would say that.
So this is what I'm saying. It's like it's the same stuff. And then another thing that they say is like, oh no, be careful of those witches. They conjure whatever spirits. But then you just have to go down on Sunday to your local church. People talking in tongues, and what they're saying, the Holy Spirit is entering the room.
You're
so
right.
It's like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, and I'm obviously just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, literally.
But I'm,
but
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, dude.
Continue. Yeah.
Anyways, that can open up a whole other thread. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I
it's like,
understand what
who
you're saying.
says? So when you have people who go and they burn all the Harry Potter books and stuff, I just think it's a little bit disingenuous.
It is disingenuous. What I'm saying, Mikey, is only this. I agree with you. It's disingenuous, and I agree with you that the parallel is so close that it's easy to be like, what's the difference? Especially like what you just said, that the last example you gave, we are summoning the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
But here's the difference. They are people who call themselves dark witches and wizards and Satanists, and they want to summon the darkest energies that they can from quote unquote hell. They want all the evil. They want the neglect, the abuse, the violence. That's the spirit they want to summon. Whereas other people are saying, we want to connect with the light. We want to connect with charity. We want to connect with adoration. We want to love. You understand? So you can't say it's just the same. Yes, it's two sides of the same coin, but it's not the same.
But
it's
okay,
like
so what about
light.
the white magicians who are about all those things that you listed, but who are also seen as pagan? They are also thrown into the same category.
Yeah, but remember, pagan just means pagan is not the same as evil, even though many people will put the two together. Pagan is not the same as evil. Pagan means you are like you're like worshiping in the forests, and you're worshiping forest spirits,
fairies
and you get
and
what I mean. That's
Nephites and
pagan,
stuff.
but pagan doesn't automatically is not equal evil.
But that's what they say, though.
Yeah,
This
but
is what
people say
this is
all
where
kinds of
the
stupid
line I'm trying
shit.
to draw.
Yeah, people say all kinds of stupid shit, bro. You can't listen
So
to everything that people
say
are
you
saying.
don't have those people who, like you said, are trying to really do harm. You
Yeah.
have the other ones who are like putting together potions and stuff because some guy's got lumbago or something and it helps him with his back. You know, those are the ones who get dragged into the streets and then burnt.
Yes, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Like, make no mistake, it's wrong because
And do you think that there's these so-called people from God's side
huh,
who are also
who quote
conjuring
unquote God's
some?
side, inverted commas. Yeah,
No, I'm just saying, like, people who might say that they're
Christian.
Jewish or Christian or
Yeah.
whatever it is, who are doing that, some type of evil thing,
Yes.
or is it that? And what would be the example of that?
Oh, I've got so many, bro. So
Because
many. I
I don't
mean,
have any.
look,
I
you
don't know
don't
how
have
you would
any?
use it other than like going to war and then praying for those people's sons and daughters to be slaughtered.
Yeah, well, you see, that's
You
the
know,
thing
like
is
praying
that,
over the missiles and stuff,
listen,
praying
there's,
over the artillery and the armament. Like,
dude, I don't want to talk about my wife's story, but like basically, and I'm not gonna go too in depth, but basically, trust
you
me,
don't have to.
they are
Oh, so
people.
this is a trust me, bro
No,
story.
no, this is a life experience story, and also I have witnessed parts of it. Like, there are people who say, I am a Christian, I go to church every Sunday and I'm part of the choir, and at in
I'm
their
singing a
in
song, so I'm
yeah,
gonna meet Jesus.
exactly, and in their homes they are abusive, very abusive, verbally, physically. They literally are violent. They choke out their own children to the point where the kid passes out, and then they say, I'm a follower of Christ. No, you're not. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, but if you are at home and you are like choking out your kids, or beating your kids to the point where teachers at school are saying, yo, are you being abused at home, right? Then you're not a Christian. You can call yourself a fucking zebra if you want. It doesn't make you one. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point, is that, and that's something that many people have called out, not just prophets in the Bible, is that there's a lot of you guys here who are gonna say, I'm one of God's people, but you're not. You're not. You are actually like a star pupil in the church of Satan. It's just that you're not going to those meeting places, but you are a child of darkness, 100%. And
But
and
here's
and
this is what I'm trying to
yeah,
say because you didn't really touch on the point, even though I do
really?
appreciate the story.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
Because what I'm saying is
Okay.
that they have specific protocol that they do.
Who's
These
they?
like
Just be more specific.
the black witches or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them. Um, in order to like doing these things. So, for instance, you've got the, let's just call them magicians. You got the white magicians. You got the black magicians.
Yeah.
The white magicians are the ones who are, like you said, are trying to help people. This person to find love, this guy to grow 2 more inches.
No, no, no. Okay, okay. But that's not even. No, no. That's a bad example. Can I just give you a better example? Trying to help.
It's just a joke that I'm throwing
Okay,
in
okay,
there.
okay,
But
okay.
um, but what I'm saying is, you have them who are trying to help people.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have the other, let's call them pagans, who are, like you said, really trying to curse people and stuff.
Yeah.
And I asked, is there an example in Christianity or something, where it can be used for that same type of um I don't know, curses and things like that.
Well,
And
okay.
then you just gave an example of what people do in the carnal mind, right? It's like, no, that's just a bad human being, but they aren't like, you
So your
know.
question is
But my
there?
thing is basically like this: is that is there even a difference if someone goes into the room and they see their kids there playing with their toys and they're like they smile about it, but then they go onto their knees and they pray that the other country gets bombed to bits and that their people make it out safe. And so you got those same kids in Iraq or Iran in the playing there with their toys, and they're going to get burnt to a crisp or blown up.
Yeah.
But you're like, thank you for this to happen.
No,
Is
but
that
that's
not just
wrong.
doing the same thing,
It is.
using it in like a dark way?
Yes, it is. 100%. Because that's not what you should be praying for. You understand? Like, for example, this is what I realized a lot. And this is why it creeps me out. I can literally use the word, it creeps me out. This Israel-Palestine conflict on both sides, okay? You've got people who are pro-Israel and they don't care.
Like you used to be, right?
No,
Or
no,
I don't
no.
know
I
if you
was
still
never.
are.
No,
Or...
no, 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 no. Stop, stop. Don't even
I'm asking.
slander
I
me. Don't
kind of
even
remember
slander me like
you
that. I
because your name is Israel, like literally on your
Yes,
ID.
yes, but it's a whole different story. Like I can unpack it for you, but the whole point is I'm pro life and I'm pro peace, right? And what I was saying, and I was arguing, trying to argue with some of these people who are like, I was trying to tell them that, listen, guys, Hamas, if you want the people of Palestine to truly be free and to have a homeland, you have to recognize the fact that an organization like Hamas can never do that. Because Hamas is an organization, first of all, it is corrupt from the very core. Secondly, it doesn't value the life of the civilians. It is willing to take civilians and put them up as shields and take bullets and bombs so that they can further their own agenda. That's why the head honchos of Hamas were living in like Dubai and places as billionaires, right? So, and then someone will tell me, oh, so you're pro-Israel. No, I'm also not saying that what the Israeli government is doing is right. That's wrong. What I'm saying is that let's figure this out. Both of them are wrong. And both of them are being, in both instances, you have authorities that are manipulating and brainwashing children from birth to adulthood into some kind of doctrine of subjugation and violence and conflict. And that is in itself wrong. And on both ends. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and what about this whole thing with like Netanyahu who was actually funding Hamas? And he was even
Netanyahu
he,
is a
he
bro.
even explained it as something about keeping control. It's a way to control the flame. Um,
Dude,
and then we can
Netanyahu
go into like the
Netanyahu
whole
is part of a cult called we spoke about this.
Shabbat Lubavitch.
He's part of a cult, and the guy is a maniac. Like, and this is the thing. Some Jews don't realize it. There are people who call themselves Jewish who are not at all for Jews. You understand? They are not for you. They are actually Satanists. everything, like, if I do everything that a Satanist does, and then I say I'm Jewish, I'm not Jewish. I'm a Satanist. You understand?
Yeah.
That's the fact that people have to understand. But of course, it's so difficult for people to do that because they get so easily caught up in the emotional pendulum. It has to be all left or all right. He's the bad guy. She's the bad guy. You know, everything has to be labeled. And if you try to explain to people that, look, the label, it's very flimsy, it can come off. If you just scratch a bit, you realize that's not what's inside the container. It's too complex. People don't want to think like that. Why are you trying to make me look deep into the subject? Can't you see I'm trying to have a moral high ground on something, right? And it goes both ways. That's
But
my
that's
take.
that's not what they want, right?
No.
I remember many of the times, even just people would try set you up. They would be like, "Oh, because people don't know like what they're even talking about." And I don't want to use one of our close friends as an example, but we all went out not that long ago, when he came to visit you, and I remember we were all at this restaurant, and you know how we are like as friends, like we take over the whole place. You hear our conversations across the whole restaurant, and they were outside on like the patio area. I was at a table holding court, obviously, and I just kind of listened over, and I saw them talking there, and I heard the conversation, and it was about Gaza and Palestine, and I was just like, like you're just like playing into the collective, right? The collective is talking about these things. And so you're just talking about it. Is there not other things that you want to sort of dive into, other things that have been on your mind? And then you saw kind of the group kind of split in two. Um, and then people would come up to you and they'd be like, oh, so yeah, that Gaza stuff is really crazy, eh? And then they look at you waiting for you to say something, you know? Like,
To trigger them. Please trigger me.
no, no, they're like, that's what they're saying. Like, what side are you on, essentially?
Yeah.
But then I would always play it smart, where I'm like, oh, I'm not really that educated on it. Can you explain more? Like, then it's just like table tennis of, what? So you haven't seen what happened over there, And it's like, you're basically playing like this mental ping pong, trying to get the person to take a stance. It's actually a good skit now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
Key and Peele type of skit. But anyways, like, and then as soon as you say something, they attack you,
Yeah.
or they give their opinion based on if you agree with them or not. And I just never wanted to get involved in that stuff because, you're talking about things that have been going longer than we've even been alive. And you're an expert all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, why? Because you saw a few posts. Oh, because this person that you follow has told you those points.
Or your
But how
pastor
can
or
you
your church or
exactly?
whatever.
But at the same time, it's like and this kind of ties it back into everything we've spoke about. Oh, don't listen to that news. It's propaganda. These people know what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of being like, no, listen to all the news. Listen
And
to
let's filter
everything.
out through all the nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can you actually find truth in all of what people are saying? It's like, oh, because remember, truth will always show itself. So if you can look at what these people are saying, right, and you're like, okay, this is what they said, and this is what they said. If you really pay attention to what they're saying, and then you listen to some independent people, and then you listen to some far left and far right, there will be
a commonality, a common thread
exactly
of truth.
that actually that thread will show itself, and you'll be like, oh, that's the truth.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if don't read those books and don't listen to those people and
Yeah.
only listen to this.
And that's one of the reasons why I said to myself, I'm gonna read those books on magic. Like, I want to know what they really believe. And it's not for everyone.
And you're a black magician.
Because I'm black. Okay, that's funny. Black Harry. No. Like, dude, relax.
Black Jamal.
But look, it's because
that would be hilarious, like a ghetto Hogwarts.
Yeah,
Oh
Key and
my
Peele
God.
did a skit like that.
Did they do that?
Yes, it's brilliant. Like, in fact, it should be a book. Like, it should be a series. It's actually so sick. Like, in the
It's
Hogwarts
starting
universe.
to come back to me, I feel.
Yeah, in the Hogwarts universe, it's funny, dude. It really deserves a series. I don't know why no one wants to take it there. And they even did
Because
this.
the white people don't want you to touch their stuff. It's like, okay, you can have your skit, but stick to the source material.
Yeah.
Even though I'll say now, like, J.K. Rowling is something else, dude. Like,
and now you have people who want to boycott her because of these people want to boycott
those people
her,
are stupid.
or have been trying to boycott her because of her.
I know, because
her
of
views, on trans thing.
But it's like, look, at the same time, sometimes I wish, and obviously people can have their opinions and stuff, but sometimes I wish that we didn't have this thing of, oh, what's your opinion on current affairs? Like, what if someone was just a writer? What if someone was just an actor?
But that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, just because
but now you want them to talk about, like, loony stuff, and even if I give, like, what's common sense, now I can be put in that box, just like we spoke about. Oh, I see, you're a bigot or something.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's like Dave Chappelle made a really funny joke about it when he was talking about, was it 9/11? It's like, and now on news they're like, and now let's hear from Ja Rule. And it's like,
oh yeah,
why do we need to
like,
know what Ja Rule thinks? Like, why are we asking musicians and actors what they think? They're musicians and actors. Ask them about what they know. And then don't ask them about it. And then when they give you an answer, which they may not even have thought about because they never even concerned themselves, suddenly you're like, he's an asshole. She's what? Dude, forget that.
Hey man, here's another funny skit. Like, that happens, and then the person, like, realizes they've been caught off guard and they've been asked, like, a gotcha question.
Yeah.
And they just start, like, breaking down, screaming and crying, like, on the floor, like, curled up in a ball, just to, like, get out of it, dude.
Yeah. It's true,
you know what
man.
I mean? Like, I'm thinking about Ja Rule, just like screaming.
Yeah.
Like, anything possible to get away from any current affairs.
Yeah.
I mean, it could obviously be funnier, but that's just, like, the premise of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, dude. And this is why you've got, it's kind of with these conversations that we have. This is why I don't want us to hold back and think like, oh, if I say this and that person's going to think this. I already know so many people disagree with a lot of the things I'm saying. Even though I'm not saying it, I'm simply just holding up, like, all sides of it and being like, but don't you see all sides? What do you have to say now? I'm not saying it, but this is what, when you look at the whole map, you can see, oh, there's land there, there's waters there as well, there's people there as well. Oh, there's beliefs and all these things as well.
Yeah, it's a whole, what I always like to say, just one last thing about this is just let me just throw some more spanners in the works here, or some more wood on the fire. This whole Palestine-Israel thing.
Oh boy.
Oh
Here we
boy.
go again.
Or everyone around the conflict has an opinion. And everyone around the conflict, whether it's Muslims in Egypt or in Jordan or in Tunisia or Morocco, and whether it's Christians in Europe or America or Africa, everyone has got an opinion and everyone's got an idea on how it should be. Give the land back. It's their ancestral
Two-party
land.
state and all
Blah
that
blah
type of
blah
stuff.
blah 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 blah. But let me tell you this, and I might be absolutely wrong, but this is my focus here. This would be my focus. The future belongs to the children. Let us work toward future. No one alive today was there when the state of Israel was carved out in Palestine. And no
You mean
one
was bought by the Rothschilds in 1948 from the
what
British?
but it wasn't. Listen, there were already Jews living there. That's something that, look, that's my point, is that countries are born, countries die, right? Czechoslovakia became the Czech Republic and the Slovakia. The United Soviet States of Russia, became all the independent countries that are there today. Recently, much more recently than the state of Israel and Palestine. All of that is insignificant. The point is, how long are we going to have children dying to live up to some idea that you as an old man and woman have of how things should have been 80 years ago? Today, those children are alive and the future belongs to them. So just create the state. Create the states that are necessary where children can live in peace and harmony and freedom. That is my first concern. You understand? I say this because I've seen some of these programs where I've seen pro-Palestinian people on like Arabic television, Egyptian state television, talking about, we will fight the Israelis till the last. We will never give up. We will keep defending and dying to get our land back. And I'm like, you old shriveled up bastard. You old shriveled up bastard. You don't give a damn about those kids. You don't give a damn. You want people to keep dying so that you can sit there and be like, you see, we got it back. Like, screw you, man. Screw you. Seriously, screw you. The world belongs to all of us. The whole world belongs to all of us. I'm never going to send my child to go and die for geographic corners. You understand?
And that's what they do, right?
And that's what they're doing.
18-year-old for the draft, 18 to 24. And
the Israeli state is doing it. The Palestinians are doing it. Like,
yeah,
and everyone has an
America.
opinion. America's doing it. Like, bro,
it's so funny because it's like, these are literally the children that are being sent to die. Coming back in
you are sending the
with
future to
American
die.
flag on it.
You are sending the future to die for the past. Screw you. Go to hell.
And
Like,
then you have
seriously?
like an 89-year-old man who's like, I'm so rich now. But it's like, it makes no sense.
It makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah,
man.
that was a good speech, dude.
Yeah. That's my whole thing, man. Like, I'm not gonna send my kid to die for borders. You know, and I've seen some of how people are living in the West Bank, and it's wrong, you know.
And obviously the whole like Greater Israel project is just so I mean, it's so evident, allegedly, in my opinion, that that is what is being like, what is taking place.
Yeah, trying to control everything from the Nile to the Euphrates, or from the it's. But like I said, it's extremism. Shabad, Lipnitz, or whatever,
Lubavitch.
Lubavitch, and what it
I
really
even
should
heard
be.
something about like the Greater American Project,
Oh, you mean the one that's
where
been going on since 1945? Before,
where like
actually.
they want to take everything, all the Americas,
Mm.
down to even South America.
Yeah, but they already influence all of South America. You understand what I'm saying?
But I
They
mean, like, just turn it into more and more states, right? So like
I
all the
think
way down.
I think they don't want it to be a part of Rome. If I can compare to Rome, they don't want it to be a part of the Roman Empire. They want it to no, sorry. They don't want it to be a Roman province. They just want it to be a subservient territory. You understand? So
Because I
they
know they're going into, or they want to go into Cuba now as well.
Bro, they've been going into Panama, they've been going into Colombia. This is old, bro. Like the Dooley brothers. If you ever research the United Fruit Corporation, oh my goodness. For
The
fruit, Mikey.
UFC,
For yeah, United Fruit Corporation. For just for
or
the
is that
sake
like a gay corporation?
no, dude. Let me say, look here. It was by the Dooley brothers, United Fruit Company. You see, Guatemala, they literally can't give me English examples, and then it's a stupid AI answer. Okay, whatever. Let's just.
Speaking of that AI thing, dude, like I listened to the last episode and I was like, you were saying that your AI said that there's no such gate as um, the eye of the needle.
The eye of
But
the
then
yeah.
I went and checked my AI again because I asked it before I even brought that up. I already asked my AI, and it said that it's not that it was a real gate. It was a saying that was said in that time. And then
Clarify,
you were like,
clarify
oh
what you mean.
no. So remember, it was like a rich man won't get into heaven.
No,
A
no, no.
camel has a better chance of getting into.
No, that's not you butchering it.
Like,
For a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven is like a
it's
camel
easier for a
to.
camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a
Oh,
rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven.
yes.
And the reason behind that was obviously because it was a saying back then where because you had to unburden the camel. Not that it was an actual thing, but it was that whole thing of taking off your riches so that the camel could pass through.
Through what? Through the gate called?
Through the gate, the eye of the needle.
Aha, so what you're saying is you found out that there actually was a gate called the Eye of the
No, I'm
Needle.
saying that that was an actual phrase back then,
Okay.
before Jesus ever said it.
Yes, yes. So what you're saying is
But then
he was.
your AI, you were like, no, that was never said. That was never a thing.
No.
But it like
It's
the
about
context was missed.
exactly. That's very
I
important.
just ended up looking like a liar, which I am not.
But what you had said is you had asked me to ask the AI, was there ever a gate of Jerusalem called the Eye of the Needle? But now what you are saying is that in the context of the phrases at that time, right? Like for example, in 200 years, if they're like, there used to be a phrase called shake and bake, and everyone's like, what does that mean? Like, it has no meaning. Oh, they must have referred to shaking up the inner soul to whatever. No, it's just shake and bake. There was a product called shake and bake, and that's what they were
Meth.
saying. No. No, man, there's that cooking thing. You put the chicken in the bag and you like shake it up and it like spices all
Isn't
the
that
food.
chicken in a bag?
Like are you being obtuse purposely or what? There's
No,
actually a
but
product called shake and bake.
I used to love chicken in a bag.
Yes, whatever they called it.
It was very nice.
There's obviously
But I'm
generic
saying shake
terms.
and bake is the way you make meth in a bottle, and you have to burp it like that. And if you don't, it explodes.
Mikey,
Allegedly.
Mikey, the phrase shake and bake can be applied to many things, okay? Many
But I never
things.
knew it was actually a product.
Yeah,
That,
it was actually a product.
and it, yeah, so chicken in a bag came from that, is what you're saying. Because in South Africa, it was just called chicken in a bag, and the meat was so tender. It was like sous vide. You know what sous vide is, right?
Yeah.
Sous vide is like the water bath.
Okay.
So you heat the water up to a certain temperature. And it stays at that temperature, and you vacuum seal meat in a bag, and then you place it in there, and it's like a jacuzzi, and it
Yeah.
will just keep it at that temperature, and you let it go for hours and hours,
Mm.
and then when you take it out the bag, you give it a sear, right? Like if you do it with steaks, and it's just
Okay.
the meat just it's just so good, crispy outside, because you haven't overcooked it
Yeah,
by keeping it at that temperature.
let me get you back on course here because I see you just went on a whole tangent there. What I was
No, I had to get back the ground I lost.
listen, what I was trying to tell you about, you were talking about how the American
You were saying about the UFC
no
White House
UFCO
fight.
UFCO, right? Let's get serious for just a moment so I can share this with you because this will be trippy for you. Okay, so the United Fruit Company, today it's called Chiquita Brands International.
Chiquita brand sounds Mexican.
Internationals was a huge US corporation, started in the 1880s, so 1880, right? And in Guatemala, that's where their whole thing was, and this corporation controlled large parts of infrastructure in Guatemala, like harbors, railroads, and it owned 40% of the arable land in Guatemala. This is a US corporation, okay? Now,
Yeah.
one of the high point of the tragedy here is that there was a democratically elected president, Jacobo Arbenz, in 1952, and he wanted to have a comprehensive land reform, right? Where he wanted to give land to, he wanted to give unused, this is the important part, unused land to poor farmers. And this American corporation, United Fruit Company, saw that as a threat, right? So just the fact that your
And
people,
they killed him.
So yeah, so the concern, this business had great connections to the U.S. government. The Dooley brothers, one was in the CIA, the other one was in the FBI, and first they began by defaming Arbenz and his idea, so like defamation, and started saying he's a communist, right? Because that's always happens every time someone says
he's a
hey,
commie.
He's a commie, and then there was actually an operation that was executed called PB Success. Underneath, yeah,
Peanut butter success.
probably right. And the CIA in 1954 orchestrated a coup, and they literally gave weapons to rebels and destabilized the entire country,
like they did with the Kurds.
yeah,
in Iran.
and that's the whole thing that America does. and then they say we are the land of the free. They,
the home of the brave.
the home of the brave. They are manipulating. Literally, people are just trying to use their own resources to get out of poverty.
How
And you're
dare
like,
you do
no.
that?
How dare you do that? How dare
Like
you
with
do that?
Gaddafi, and he was, when he was raped in the street.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Oh, there's something I wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about it next time. Very intense stuff
Yeah.
about Saddam Hussein's sons. Ooh, that's a whole different thing, dude.
Put a pin in
I'll
that.
put a pin in that.
But anyway, brother, we've reached that time now again.
What
once
time
again,
is that? 4 hours.
hammer time. No.
I feel like it was like over 3 hours again.
No, we're just shy of 3 hours. But like we said, we're gonna try and not do that. Even though we can talk.
Look, where the conversation ends, it's gonna end. Even if that's 6 hours, just hold on to your hats.
Nah, bro. Again, we took this such a dark turn. But what can you do in this world? There's so little light.
All I will say is
there's light that's trying to fight.
End it, try to end it a little bit kooky, is that you are the thing that you are looking for. That's all I will say. And the moment you start realizing that there's nothing out there for you, and that you start turning inward, that's where you'll see that light that you thought was lost or you never had. And the more you turn within, that glow will start getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then that will become the world that you live in.
I want, I guess I'm speaking to myself here mostly, but I want to keep becoming a better person. And I don't want to drown in all the current affairs and the darkness. But I want to myself be a light unto others. And then I just want to inspire others to really ask themselves serious questions. How powerless are you, really? This is our paradise. This world is our gift. It was given to us. And how long are we going to allow a handful of decrepit people, perverse people, just to shit on our parade, to make us pay to live in paradise? It is they are all false constructs. False constructs. Someone took a piece of chalk, drew it on the ground, and was like, but you can only go this far. But like, who put you in charge in the first place? Who put you in charge in the first place? And it can only work if enough of us start to question. Get off the emotional pendulums that the news is trying to get you on, your pastor is trying to get you on, your friend is trying to get you on. Get off that shit. Look inside yourself. If you really look inside yourself, you'll realize that everyone has got that same desire most of us have that same desire for goodness, and I don't know, we can be free in this world. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm trying to say.
No, it makes perfect sense. Just end it cleanly, because it was a good speech. If you'd like, just leave it there.
Fight! No.
Fight.
No. Just work on yourself.
Allegedly. No, it's the shooting in Butler that people say is, anyways. Anyways, dude, that was a good shot, as always. I really need to end this one with a young
minute.
2 minute. Just let's all just calm down to a panic. Okay. I'm going to say thank you to begin it, and then I'll say thank you to end it. Shot for watching if you're watching. Thank you. Thank you.